Chapter 718. Sima Yoyue's cold aura was so strong that Jia Hongguang could not ignore it. Moreover, the group of old fellows behind her all had extraordinary auras. Although they had more people, they were still lacking in comparison. But even if it was difficult, it could not stop his determination to obtain this auspicious beast. Elder Bai, help me guard this place. Kill whoever dares to get close to Little Two. Sima Yue said coldly. Yes, young master. The White Clan elders nodded and flew above Little Tuesday. They stood in various positions and surrounded Little Tuesday. No one was allowed to touch Little Tuesday Hongguang. This auspicious beast's bloodline has been completely stimulated. Now it is only undergoing the evolution of its body. If we can contract it now, we don't even need a beast tamer to tame it. One of Jia Hongguang's friends said. If we wait until he fully recovers before we act, I'm afraid it will be troublesome to form a contract with him. Patriarch, if you want to obtain his essence blood, it's best to act now. It'll be much harder for us to kill him once his body completes its evolution. Someone beside Patriarch Tianshan said. Yes, we don't want to form a contract. This is the best time to act. The old ancestor of Tianshan Mountain nodded and gestured to the people beside him. Everyone, we must get this auspicious beast. The people around the Tianshan sect's old ancestor roared. The people of the Tianshan sect immediately attacked Little Tuesday. Everyone, let's go together. There aren't many of them. As long as we can stall them, we can get the auspicious beast. Everyone, let's go. We can't let others get the auspicious beast first. Seeing the people of the Tianshan sect taking action, the others couldn't help but attack. The Patriarch of Heavenly Mountain, the patriarchs of the other sects, and a few old fellows tangled with the Patriarch of Egret clan. They fought and flew into the sky. Little Two gradually lost his protector. You guys go down and protect him, Tuoba Wuchen said to the people around him. Yes, young master. The members of the Tuoba family all jumped off their flying beasts and started fighting with those people. You guys go too. Protect that person and that young master well. After Feng Zhixing finished speaking, he flew to Sima Yoyue's side and struck down the person behind her with his palm. The Feng clan and Tuoba clan didn't have a lot of people. Facing nearly 1,000 people and their contracted beasts was still a bit strenuous. Roar! Little Two's aura became thicker and thicker, and his roar attracted the attention of many people. In order to get Little Two first, they bypassed the Feng and Tuoba families and went straight for Little Tuesday. The boundary formation fell apart under the lack of spirit power and the aftermath of the various spirit techniques. Without the boundary, those people were about to reach Little Tuesday. F***CK. Do you think I'm invisible? Little Seven roared and flew above Little Tuesday. She swung her fists at the people who were flying over. She sent one of them flying with each punch. She sent all the people who came over flying. Huahua, you're allowed to eat meat today. Sima Yue waved her hand and threw the Huahua out. The Huahua landed on the lakeside and grew at lightning speed. Before anyone could react, it had occupied the entire lakeside. Receiving Yue's amnesty, the Huahua was very happy. Flowers as tall as a person floated on the lake and in the air. Looking at it, the entire lake was full of man-eating flowers. The flowers wrapped around Little Two, and anyone who came close was eaten by it. The situation of the two sides suddenly reversed. Man-eating flower king. Someone recognized the Huahua and exclaimed, Waha, there are so many people today. I can eat a lot. The Huahua's flowers swayed in the air proudly. Retreat, don't be wrapped by the flowers, someone shouted. But it was too late. Dozens of people with low power were eaten by the Huahua's flowers. Only those with high power relied on their speed to escape by luck. Even the battle between the ancestors and the elders of the Egret clan stopped temporarily and confronted each other in the air. Hongguang, this is the man-eating flower king. One of Jia Hongguang's friends frowned and looked at the flowers with fear. Man-eating flower king? The continent hasn't seen a man-eating flower for a long time, let alone a man-eating flower king. Jia Hongguang said, Is this man-eating flower very powerful? Ma Lin and the others didn't know much about this plant-type spirit beast. As long as the main root of this man-eating flower king doesn't die, it can keep blooming. Each flower has the same power. It can be said that the man-eating flower king can fight 1,000 enemies. Jia Hongguang said. So powerful? Ma Lin exclaimed. The others who knew about the man-eating flower king were also shocked. Jia Hongguang quietly took out a jade slip and crushed it. Some others did the same. Waha, why don't you come over? The Huahua shouted at the people who kept retreating. Its voice was as smug as it could be. Sima Yue flew and landed on a flower, the branches swaying gently. The elders of the Egret clan also landed on the flowers behind her, standing with her as the center. She looked at everyone with her hands behind her back. She didn't say anything, but it gave people the feeling of standing at the top of the world looking down on everyone. Fan Lei saw Huahua, as well as the elders behind her, and the way they looked at her changed. Others didn't know, but he knew. These elders came out of the enchantment, and these people didn't exist before he came out. So where did these people come from? He already had some guesses in his heart. Tuoba Wuchen looked at Sima Yue, rubbed his eyes in disbelief, and elbowed Feng Zhixing beside him, saying, Zhixing, is this really her? Feng Zhixing and he knew each other since they were young, so he naturally understood what he meant. However, he didn't say anything, but looked at Sima Yue with a smile. She had grown very quickly in the past few years. Now, she was completely different from the girl who had just started cultivating. Although she grew very quickly, he still hoped that she could grow faster, because there were still many things waiting for her to do. Nailan Lan looked at Sima Yue and suddenly thought of that person in the Yilan continent. They were clearly two different people with different temperaments, and the difference in strength was too great. So why did she think of her? Sima Yue looked at the few elders. These people were the top existences of the sect, and their strength was not much worse than her own elders. They were the same as the elders in the sky, and came to participate in today's matter, because their lives were coming to an end. I didn't expect that the extinct man-eating flower king on the continent would be obtained by you, the Tian Shan mountain elder said. Although it's very powerful, it's just that your level is not high enough. You can deal with those people, but to deal with us, I'm afraid you don't have the ability. I know this can't hurt you, but don't forget, my elders are enough to deal with you. Sima Yue said. You're tied down, can you still deal with my man-eating flower king? Chapter 719. Remember Sogu in 1 second. You can read it anytime. Mobile users, please visit. The Heavenly Mountain Patriarch almost spat out a mouthful of blood. However, what she said was also the truth. So many of these old fellows who had not come out for many years had come out this time. She did not know which clan's elders were from, but they had tied down the group of old ancestors so tightly that they could not do anything about it. Sima Yue looked at the crowd and did not intend to continue fighting. Now that the formation was interrupted and the barrier was gone, Little Two was exposed outside. If he was accidentally injured, he would regret it to death. However, the other party didn't seem to have any intention of attacking immediately. It was as if they were waiting for something. The two sides were in a stalemate. Fan Lei had noticed Jia Hongguang's small movements before, and knew that he was delaying to wait for reinforcements. However, he had no way to stop him. Little Two still needed time. Now, he only hoped that when the other party's backup arrived, Old Yuan and the others would also be able to bring their men over. Time passed quickly in the stalemate between the two sides. Little Two's situation became more and more stable. His breath was involuntarily released and slowly restrained until it could no longer be felt. Little Two stood up from the water and put on his clothes under the cover of the flowers. Then he jumped onto a flower and roared. His aura was completely released, and everyone could faintly feel the pressure of a supreme being. At the same time, in a certain forest, several golden eyes opened at the same time, their eyes flashing with joy. The few of them came out of their cave residences and flew into the air. You guys felt it too? Yes, indeed. Let's go take a look. Yes, I have to confirm it. Little Two retracted his aura and jumped to Sima Yue's side. He shouted happily, Big brother. Sima Yue looked at Little Two, who was already in his 20s, and suddenly felt as if her own child had just grown up. She reached out to stroke his head and smiled. You've grown up. You're even taller than me. That's also my brother's and sister's little pictures. Although Little Two's body had grown up, his smile was still the same as before, and his dependence on her was the same as before. Far away on the mountain, Bei Gong Tang and the others were also extremely emotional. Seeing Little Two grow up after suffering so much, they all felt their hearts ache. I knew that Little Two was in danger, but I didn't expect him to experience 2 years of pain. It's a good thing that he's fine now, Fatty Chu lamented. He has recovered, but his current situation is not optimistic. Sima Yulin said as he looked at a certain spot in the sky. What is it? Sima Yuming asked. There's movement in that space. Someone should be coming. Sima Yulin's perception of space was very sensitive. It was just a small fluctuation, but he could feel it. Little Two then bowed to Fan Lei and said gratefully, Thank you, Dean Fan, for taking care of me these past 2 years. It's good that you've recovered. Fan Lei smiled. Let's leave this place first. Before the other party's reinforcements arrived, it was better to leave quickly. Do you think you can still leave? Jia Hongguang sneered. Martial uncle, our master and the others here? Ma Lin asked excitedly. It should be soon. Jia Hongguang said. Go and stop them. No matter what, don't let them leave. Once they leave today, it will be difficult to catch this auspicious beast later. Yes, martial uncle. The people of the Sage Pavilion knew that their pavilion master was coming. They were not afraid of the man-eating flower, and surrounded them in the air. The others also contacted the people behind them. Before they arrived, they did not dare to let Little Two and the others leave. A group of bandits stood on the same front again. They called for reinforcements. This is to delay time. We have to kill our way out immediately, Fan Lei said as he immediately attacked Jia Hongguang. The two immediately fought. Sima Yu also guessed that Jia Hongguang and the others wanted to delay time. At the same time as Fan Lei's order, the Huahua controlled the flower branches to bite those people. Those with low strength could not escape its speed, and were swallowed by it. Little Two's strength increased sharply. From the strength that had not yet reached the divine rank, he became an expert comparable to a high-level monarch rank. He fought with an expert who came with Jia Hongguang, Feng Jixing, and the others also joined in. The battle broke out. Hongguang, we can't hold on anymore. We can only summon the bird clan for help. A friend of Jia Hongguang said. Then brother, please summon them. When we return, the Sage Pavilion will reward you greatly. Jia Hongguang said. This was what the other party had been waiting for. With his guarantee, that person shouted loudly and called out his contracted beast, saying, I know you want to help me, but if I die, you will die too. I don't ask you to do it, but please summon the nearby bird clan to help. You don't want me to die, right? That person summoned a phoenix, and it was a very strong one. It was unknown what method he used to contract it. That phoenix had a cold aura. It looked at its master with a murderous aura. He glanced at the chaotic battlefield and the injuries on its master's body. He released his aura. Very quickly, a cry came from not far away. It was considered a response. Sima Yu had noticed the phoenix the moment it appeared. She could also feel that it was not an ordinary oppressive force. Yu, this should be a Swanee. It's a strong one. There is no obedience in its eyes. It must have been accidentally contracted by someone. Little Rock said to Sima Yu in the spirit pagoda. Phoenixes were the bird clan whose bloodline was closest to the vermilion bird. It was divided into Swanee, Qinghuan, Golden Phoenix, Blue Phoenix, etc. The Swanee had a higher status in the Phoenix clan. It was also known as the Phoenix Emperor. Their clan was much smaller than the other clans, but their overall strength was much stronger. It was obvious that their battle strength was high, and it was said that the Swanee was very arrogant. It would definitely not recognize anyone as its master. It was unknown how this person managed to contract it. Do you know what he was doing just now? Sima Yu asked. The Swanee has a very high status. It can summon the nearby bird clan. I think he was summoning those people. Little Rock guessed. Puff dash. Sima Yu could not help but laugh. This guy actually wanted to use the bird clan here to deal with them. She wondered what his expression would be when he knew the result. Yu, let Little Rock go out later. I'm really curious what their expressions will be when they see him. Little Dream giggled. Sima Yu replied. She was also curious as to what kind of expressions the people from the Sage Pavilion would have. Very quickly, a flock of birds flew towards the center. Sima Yu was happy when she saw them. These guys were flamingos. The leader's strength was not very high. It should not be their king. When the flamingos arrived, they did not immediately join in the battle. Instead, they came in front of Lu Tian and bowed. Master, I wonder what instructions you have for summoning us? Lu Tian looked at Sima Yu and said, kill her. Remember Sogu in 1 second. Read it at any time. Sogu's first release, Crazy Wife, Godly Doctor 5th Young Miss latest chapter. This chapter is chapter 719. If you feel that this chapter is not bad, please do not forget to recommend it to your friends in the QQ group in Weibo. Chapter 720. From Lu Tian's point of view, he was called out because Jiahong Guang and the rest could not deal with the man-eating flower king. Sima Yue was the man-eating flower king's contracted master. As long as she was dealt with, the other problems would be solved. When Sima Yue saw Lu Tian's imposing manner, she was filled with regret. Little Rock was the king of the rocks. The two of them had never ordered these birds around like this before. Although Fiery Bird was far away from the epicenter of the battle, they still knew what was happening. Upon receiving Lu Tian's order, the leader ordered his subordinates to take action. The flamingos were not as large as other birds, but each of them was still 1 to 2 meters long. They attacked together, almost blocking the space around Sima Yue. Sima Yulin and the others, who were watching the battle from afar, didn't react. Third Aunt Du and Little Wu were shocked. When they were about to help, they were pulled back by Bei Gong Tang. Third Aunt, don't worry. You will be fine. Bei Gong Tang consoled. So many flamingos besieged her alone. How could she be fine? Third Aunt Du said anxiously. You believe her? Look, even Brother Feng didn't go. Bei Gong Tang said. Third Aunt Du followed Bei Gong Tang's line of sight and glanced at Shimen Feng. Although he was a little worried, he didn't do anything. San Yang, she'll be fine. Kong Sengyi said. Not far away, the 10 villains wanted to help Sima Yue, but when they saw how calm they were, they did not do anything. The other people who had retreated saw that Sima Yue did not recall the other flowers of the man-eating flower king to protect herself, and scolded her in their hearts for being stupid. However, in the next second, they could not scold her because when all the flamingos approached her, not only did they not hurt her, but they all fell to the ground and kept trembling. This is the pressure of the golden-winged rock. The king of rocks. Why is he here? Look, it's really the golden-winged rock. Where did this person come from? He has the man-eating flower king, a plant-type contract beast that is almost extinct. Now he has the rock king. Luckily, we backed out just now. This is the best decision we've made in all these years. Little Rock flew a circle around Sima Yu before turning into human form and landing beside her. He looked at the people who were prostrating themselves on the ground because of his aura and shouted coldly, You have guts, daring to act against this king's contracted master. King's contractor. The flamingo crawling on the ground was horrified. How could this person be the king's contractor? If they had known earlier, they wouldn't have dared to make a move. Little Rock released his own pressure, and those flamingos couldn't even breathe. Even Lu Tian, who had already been contracted, could not resist and lowered his noble head. King, please quell your anger. We did not know that he was King's contracted master. King, please quell your anger. Fiery Bird's leader was slightly stronger and could still speak. Little Rock, don't kill them. Sima Yue said. They were just following orders. After saying this, she glanced at Lu Tian and his contractor. Little Rock retracted his aura, and those flamingos could breathe again. It was as if they had just walked one round from the edge of death. They didn't even dare to breathe loudly, afraid that if they made Little Rock unhappy, he would kill them. Jia Hongguang and the rest were stunned. They originally thought that with the help of the flamingos, they would be able to quickly take down the other party. Who would have thought that Sima Yue was actually the king of the rocks contractor? Now that the flamingos were here, wouldn't they become their helpers? Indeed, After Little Rock retracted his aura, he was still angry and coldly said, "You attacked my contractor. I will not pursue this matter. Now kill those people for me. Those who dared to attack my contractor, don't let a single one of them go." "Yes, King." The flamingos all stood up. This time, they turned around and attacked the other party. Their helpers had become their enemies. Yoyue's side was originally stronger, but with the addition of the flamingos, those people were quickly taken down. Lu Fei saw that his contractor was beaten until he was on the verge of death, but he remained in his original position without any intention of helping. Seeing Sima Yue in front of him, he didn't have any other expression. Sima Yue stood on the man-eating flower and looked down at Lu Fei. This person had said that he wanted to kill her the moment he appeared. He looked at her calmly, without any killing intent or fear, as if she was an outsider. "Tell me, if I kill him, what will you do?" "Die," Lu Fei said indifferently, as if he wasn't talking about himself. "Aren't you afraid?" Sima Yue asked. "What's there to be afraid of?" Lu Fei didn't have the fear of death. "Being contracted, I should have died. But because I was worried, I dragged out an ignoble existence. Now that I'm dead, it's just helping me." Sima Yue smiled, but didn't say whether she wanted to kill him or not. But Little Seven was still angry. She flew to the side of Lu Fei's contractor and stepped on his chest. "Who asked you to call people to kill you? Who asked you to call people?" "Pooh!" That person was already seriously injured, and now he was on the verge of death. Lu Fei still stood there indifferently, as if that person's life and death had nothing to do with him. I'll send you to the Western Paradise," Little Seven said as she was about to step on him. A gust of wind suddenly blew over, and Little Seven felt danger. She had no choice but to dodge, and that fatal kick was stopped halfway. "Brother, have mercy!" A shout came from afar, shouting towards Sima Yue. Sima Yue looked towards the direction of the voice, and saw a lady in colorful clothes flying over, followed by an old woman. The force that hit Little Seven just now was from the old woman. She had never seen this lady before, but she recognized her. Seeing that Little Seven was about to attack again, she hurriedly stopped her. "Little Seven, wait a minute." Little Seven had already lifted her leg, but when she heard Sima Yue's words, her leg stopped in midair. She looked at the old woman and shouted, "Were you the one who attacked me just now? Little friend, please have mercy." The old woman pleaded, but her expression was very arrogant, and she didn't have the consciousness to beg. "What if I don't?" Little Seven put her hands on her hips, and her leg landed on that person's chest, but she didn't use any strength. "No." The lady in colorful clothes flew to Lu Fei's side, looked at Little Seven and said, "Please spare his life." "Who are you? You're helping this person. Are you from the Sage Pavilion?" Little Seven looked at the lady in colorful clothes. "If you are, then I can't listen to you." The lady in colorful clothes looked at Sima Yue and begged, "Brother, please have mercy on him. I don't know who he is, but he can't die." Chapter 721. Kaihong, you've grown so big. Sima Yue looked at Kaihong and waved at her. The little bird back then had already transformed into a human. Rainbow came in front of Sima Yue. Yue came down from the flower and stood beside her. "Brother, he is my uncle. Please don't kill his contractor." Rainbow grabbed Sima Yue's hand and said, "All right." Sima Yue nodded and said, "Since our little Rainbow has spoken, what's wrong with sparing his life?" "Thank you, big brother." Kaihong smiled. "Kaihong, what's the point of begging her? Now that I've become a contract beast, I'd rather die than live." Lu Fei looked at Kaihong, not at all happy that he had survived. "Uncle, you were injured because of Rainbow. That's why this person took advantage of the situation to contract you. Are you trying to make Kaihong die of guilt?" Tears fell from Kaihong's eyes. "Uncle, Kaihong only has you left. Are you going to abandon Kaihong too?" Lu Fei's indifferent expression finally changed. If it wasn't for her, how could he still be alive after being contracted? "Uncle, don't worry. I will find a way to remove the contract for you," Rainbow said firmly. "Before that, don't even think about dying. Otherwise, I'll go with you and father." Lu Fei walked over and wiped away the tears on her face. Since I promised your father that I would take care of you, I won't go back on my words when you grow up. He did not believe that there was a way to break the contract, but before Rainbow grew up, he would not end his life. Humph, little Seven snorted coldly. She couldn't help but exert more force on that person's foot. Sima Yue looked at that arrogant face and walked over. She pulled her over and said, "Little Seven, let me introduce you. This is Rainbow, a friend of mine. Rainbow, this is Little Seven." Seven turned her head to the side. She didn't like rainbows. Humph. Why did you let that person go just because this guy begged for mercy? Rainbow now looked like a 15 or 16-year-old girl, while Little Seven was still a few years old child. She looked like she was younger than her. She didn't like this feeling. Sima Yue took out a pill and gave it to Rainbow, who fed it to the man. "Rainbow, take this person to Beigong and the others. I still have some things to take care of." She pointed at the mountain where Beigong Tang and the others were. Rainbow did not know what Sima Yue wanted to do. He nodded and flew away with Lu Fei. The old woman grabbed the man's clothes and left with him. "Little Seven, you should leave with them too." Sima Yue said to Little Seven. "I don't want it." Little Seven threw her a sideways glance. Sima Yue did not force her and ordered Hua Hua. "Hua Hua, eat these people." Hua Hua was very happy. One flower after another, it ate all of them. Marlin was not spared either. Only Nalan Lan had used some kind of divine weapon to isolate herself, making Hua Hua helpless. "Your Highness, Holy Maiden, save us." The people from the Sage Pavilion kept begging her for help, but the divine weapon's light was only big enough for one person. She had no way of letting them in, so she could not say or do anything. She could only close her eyes and put on a pained expression, as if she was feeling guilty for not being able to save them. "Your Highness, Holy Maiden, save us." I'm sorry. Nalan Lan kept shaking her head, praying for her master to come quickly. So. A few spiritual powers suddenly appeared in the air and broke Hua Hua's branches. The flower buds fell to the ground, and the people who had been swallowed rolled out. Sima Yue's face darkened. After a while, the other party's reinforcements had arrived. "Master!" Nalan Lan opened her eyes and looked at the sky happily. A space tunnel opened and Nalan Lan's master, Yu Chengbai, brought a group of people out. With a wave of his hand, more than half of the Hua Hua's branches were cut by him. The Hua Hua had lost so many of its branches and was in so much pain that it went crazy. Its vines grew quickly and new branches bloomed. It's just a man-eating flower king. How dare it act so rashly in front of me? Yu Chengbai shouted. His spiritual powers quickly condensed, and he was about to attack the Hua Hua. That power could directly smash the Hua Hua into pieces. Sima Yue quickly kept the violent Hua Hua. This guy had been provoked to the point that it had lost its mind. Even if it saw the attack coming, it would not dodge. Yu Chengbai's attack lost its target and hit the ground, creating a hole that was tens of meters deep. Seeing that the Hua Hua had been kept, Nalan Lan kept her divine weapon and flew to Yu Chengbai's side. "Master, are you alright?" Yu Chengbai asked with concern. "I'm fine. Luckily Master came in time. But those senior brothers and sisters," Nalan Lan said sadly. Although the Hua Hua's buds had been cut, some people had already lost their lives and would never wake up again. Yu Chengbai looked at the dead people wearing the Sage Pavilion's clothes and said, "Those who hurt my Sage Pavilion's people will not be let off." "Thank you, Master." Nalan Lan obediently flew behind him and stood together with the people who came with Yu Chengbai. Yu Chengbai turned his gaze to Little Two and said, "This is that auspicious beast? It actually turned into a human form?" "Master, this is originally a person," Nalan Lan said. "He has the bloodline of a beast. Now that the spirit beast bloodline has swallowed the human bloodline, he is already an auspicious beast." "Postnatal auspicious beast? This kind of auspicious beast is not that useful." Yu Chengbai looked at Little Two and was somewhat disgusted. "Master, although he is a postnatal auspicious beast, the power of his bloodline is very pure. It is higher than the average auspicious beast," Nalan Lan said. "What kind of auspicious beast is he?" "This? I don't know. He only has the aura of an auspicious beast, but he did not show his true form," Nalan Lan said. So we still don't know his true form. Don't know his true form? A voice came from the space. Then, except for the sky above the lake, there were spatial fluctuations in several other places. Those people who were paralyzed on the ground saw their own rescuers. One by one, they were half dead and half alive. They were all full of energy. Ancestor. Sect master. Master, you're here. Clan master. Those who came later were very angry when they saw their own disciples or clansmen beaten up like this. But now was not the time to be angry. With a wave of his long sleeves, a pill was sent directly to those people's mouths. Fan Lei saw the people who came later. His face was darker than the bottom of Yoyue's cooking pot. These guys seemed to have other intentions towards Little Tuesday. It did not seem to be just because he was an auspicious beast. He glanced at Little Two and could not guess the real reason. Chapter 722. The following is provided for you, 722. Please enjoy. There was a constant fluctuation in the air, and one by one, people came out of the spatial tunnel. Only a small number of people were summoned by their own people, and most of the people came this time. Sima Yue saw the new people and came to Fan Lei's side, saying, Dean Fan, what do you think? The situation is getting more and more complicated. These people seem to have come for other purposes. Fan Lei said, but what purpose could they have for so many people to gather here? No matter what the reason is, their goal is Little Tuesday, Sima Yue said. I only sent a general request signal to Old Yuan and the others. I didn't expect so many people to come. Even if he brings people here, it's useless. Fan Lei said worriedly. Sima Yue looked at those people, saying, there are dozens of people from the central region, and hundreds of people from the outer region. What's going on? You can recognize their power from these people, not bad. Unfortunately, we may not be able to do anything this time. Fan Lei said. There were so many people, and so many of them were very strong. Even if Old Yuan brought people here, even if Sima Yue had the golden winged rock, even if there were so many Egret clan elders, they couldn't leave under the siege of so many monarch-level experts. No matter what, I won't hand over Little Tuesday, Sima Yue said. Dean Fan, I have a way to deal with these people. Please think of a way to leave in a while. Leave? Fan Lei looked at her and shook his head, saying, you and Little Two are both students of my inner court. How can I leave you behind? Even if I survive, I won't have the face to see Old Yuan again. And I won't have the face to see the students of the academy. Dean Fan, Little Two is my brother. I can't hand him over. And these people can't give up either. For Little Two, I may start a massacre today. Sima Yue said. Although I am a student of the academy, I don't want the academy to be directly involved in this matter. Besides, if you're here, I'll kill you too. What are you going to do? Fan Lei had a bad feeling. I have my own way of attacking indiscriminately. However, I might not be able to fight after that. If there are any other situations, I'll have to ask Director Fan to solve it. Sima Yue said, Director Fan, I'm sorry. With that, she grabbed Fan Lei's arm when he wasn't paying attention and threw him out of the lake, out of the encirclement. Yu Qingbi and the others' target was Little Tuesday. Since he was still there, they didn't put a small Dean in their eyes. Sima Yue then walked in front of Feng Zhixing and Tuoba Wuchen. She bowed to them and said, Young Master Tuoba, thank you for your help just now. The rest is between me and Little Tuesday. Please don't interfere and leave. No. Tuoba Wuchen didn't agree. If it was just a normal heavenly sect student, he would definitely leave without hesitation. However, she was his savior, Feng Zhixing's disciple, and their child. How could he let her face half of the continent's people alone? Feng Zhixing didn't say anything. He only looked at her, using his eyes to express his meaning. Sima Yue looked at Feng Zhixing and smiled gently. Don't worry. I haven't found my parents yet. There are still many things I need to do. I won't joke around with my life. Since I dare to let you leave, I naturally have absolute confidence. However, I ask that you protect my friends and take them away, so that I don't have to worry about them. Feng Zhixing saw her smiling eyes and thought of her mother. The two of them had the same eyes, the same confident light, and the same confident words. He subconsciously nodded and said, Okay, If anything happens to you, I will let the entire continent be buried with you. Sima Yue was shocked by his serious look. At the same time, she sighed in her heart. It was good to have a domineering master. Feng Zhixing turned and flew towards Bei Gongtang and the others. When Sima Yue was talking just now, she glanced over. The Feng family saw him leave and followed closely. Hey, you're serious? Tuoba Wuchen saw that Feng Zhixing was really leaving, and shouted at his back. He turned back to look at Sima Yue and sighed helplessly. If he wants the entire continent to be buried with you, then count me in. Sima Yue smiled. Young Master Tuoba, he means that I'm dead. Don't worry, I won't give you that chance. You have the same personality as your father. I really don't know what to do with you. Tuoba Wuchen turned and flew away. The Tuoba family also left with him. After the two families left, the center of the lake became empty. Sima Yue came in front of Flamingo and said, You guys should leave too. We'll talk about your previous matters after this matter is over. Young Master Tuoba, and the others helped me just now. You guys can escort them. Flamingo's leader glanced at Little Rock. Seeing that he had no objections, he accepted the order and left. He chased after Feng Zhixing and the others to meet up with Bei Gongtang and the others. Let's go. I'll send you guys off, Feng Zhixing said to Shimen Feng. But what about Yue? Kong Sengyi looked worriedly at the four people in the center of the lake. She'll be fine, Bei Gongtang said. If we stay here, we'll hinder her movements. It's better to stay away. But big sister Bei Gong, big brother is only one person. If we knew earlier, we would have brought our clansmen along with us. That way, we could have helped big brother. Rainbow stomped her feet, her heart filled with worry. Rainbow, you still don't believe in Yue? When did she do something she wasn't sure of? Wei Ziqi said. I think she's going to use that move. That move? What move? Tuoba Wuchen asked. Let's leave here first. This is not the place to talk about life. Sima Yulin said. As for what she's going to do, I believe we'll see soon. You guys are coming with us, right? The 10 great villains were shocked at this time. Sima Yue gave them too many surprises. She was the Junior Valley Master of the first-ranked Divine Devil Valley. She was an alchemist. She had the Man-Eating Flower King, and the King of the Rocks, the Golden-Winged Rock. She had a good relationship with the first-ranked clans in the central regions. She even said that if something happened, the entire continent would be buried with her. It was obvious that their relationship was not ordinary. Looking at all of these individually, it would be shocking, not to mention all of them happening to the same person. When they said that she wanted to create a force, they didn't take it to heart because they still didn't believe that she could do it. But now, seeing that she didn't change her expression in the face of so many forces, they all had faith in her. She could survive today's incident and create a force that belonged to her. If she can safely survive today, we will agree to what she said before. Feng Ji suppressed the excitement in his heart and said faintly, actively cooperate with this special campaign to combat obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Readers, please report. Thank you. Chapter 723. She will definitely get through this. You have to remember what you said. Sima Yulin called out his flying beast, saying, Let's go. This is nothing to Yue, but it's going to hurt again this time. Fatty Chu wasn't worried about Sima Yue at all. Instead, he was looking forward to what would happen to those people. Really? Rainbow still didn't believe it, and wanted to go back to help her. Rainbow will be a hindrance to Yue if we stay here, Bei Gongtang said. Furthermore, if Yue can't handle these people, there's no point in us staying. Instead of waiting for death here, why don't I go back and improve my strength, so that I can avenge her in the future? That's right. Sima Yue nodded in agreement. Yue had told them this more than once. If they couldn't win, they shouldn't force themselves to come here. They should escape and seek revenge in the future. If a person died, then there would be nothing left. Therefore, they would never blindly risk their lives for others, because it was useless. Tuoba Wuchen and the others really didn't know why Fatty Chu and the others had so much confidence in Sima Yue. But seeing them like this, their hearts also calmed down a little. Let's go. Sima Yulin urged again. The elders of the Egret clan and Honor Rock knew what Sima Yu wanted to do. So when Little Rock ordered them to leave, they did not hesitate and left the scene directly. They flew dozens of kilometers away and stopped in the air to observe the situation of the Scarlet Flame Lake. The other onlookers also retreated far away. As more and more experts appeared, they already felt that the situation was getting more and more serious. If a fight broke out, they would definitely be affected from their previous distance. Sima Yue and Little Two stood on the island in the middle of the lake. Little Seven refused to leave her side while Little Rock stood by her side to protect her. Now there were only the four of them left on the island, while there were hundreds of people in the air and on the shore. Moreover, any one of them had a higher cultivation level than her. Little Two, when did you become so popular that so many people are fighting for you? Even in such a situation, she still had the mood to chat with Little Tuesday. I don't know. Maybe it's because he's handsome. Little Two said cheekily. When did you learn to be so glib? Sima Yue patted his head and said, I'm guessing that you must be of some use to attract so many people. But what does it do? You want to know? Isn't that easy? Just ask and you'll know. Little Two said. Do you think they'll tell you even if you ask? Are you stupid? Little Seven said with a look of disdain. How do you know without trying? Little Two snorted, then took a step forward and stood in front of Sima Yue saying, Are you here for me? It's just an auspicious beast, yet it can make so many experts appear. It's really strange. Auspicious beast, there are so many of us today. You better follow us obediently, someone said. What are the benefits of following you guys? Little Two asked. Your friend can live. That's still useless to me. Little Two said. I'm just a little auspicious beast. I'm afraid I can't attract the attention of so many forces, right? Since you want me to recognize you as my master, then can you tell me the reason? Whoever tells me that he can win against us today, I'll go with him. His words had a certain effect. Someone became excited and said, There's a rumor in the continent that an immortal land is about to open, but not everyone can enter. They need an auspicious beast to open the way. Now that the auspicious beast has appeared early, the news of an auspicious beast appearing in the dark forest has spread. Naturally, it will cause everyone to fight over it. You said that if I tell you the reason, you'll go with me. When the people present heard his words, they couldn't help but scold him for being stupid in their hearts. Originally, it was a tacit understanding, but now that it was said, it was different. Since everyone came for this matter, and the news was subconsciously confirmed as true, they would definitely rob it when the time came. And that person was still looking at Little Two, really thinking that he would recognize him as his master. I said that if you can win against us today, I'll go with you. You can't win against us, so why would I go with you? Little Two looked at him as if he was stupid. He felt that this person's IQ was worrying. Did he cultivate too much and damage his brain? There are so many people today. Do you think you can get out of here alive? That person shouted. That said that we only want the blood of the auspicious beast. We didn't say that we want you alive. If you die, we can just divide your flesh and blood. It will also save us from killing each other. Only blood was enough? Sima Yue looked at the big man. She didn't know if this person was really stupid, or just pretending to be stupid. If he wasn't stupid, he was easily tricked by Little Two into revealing the reason for coming. If he was stupid, he calmed the restless crowd with one sentence. Those forces who originally wanted to snatch Little Two calmed down when they heard his words. That's right. That immortal land only needed the blood of the auspicious beast. They could share it equally. There was no need to fight to the death. There are a lot of auspicious beasts in the primordial lands. Just look at your sage pavilion. Doesn't your holy son have a Kirin beast? Why don't you ask him for it? You have so many pavilions. You can ask him to take some out. You can share it equally. Why fight with others? Sima Yue didn't understand. This auspicious beast must be in its infancy. How difficult is it to find such an auspicious beast now? Someone said. Since you only need the blood of the auspicious beast, I think we shouldn't fight for it. How about we divide the auspicious beast's flesh and blood equally? Yu Chengbai said. The people who came later were very strong. If they fought with them, they wouldn't necessarily win. It was better to leave their strength for the immortal land to find opportunities. That's good. If they could avoid fighting, then they wouldn't fight. Since there was such a good way, why should they fight? It was just an auspicious beast. Although it was precious, it wasn't to the point of falling out with so many forces for it. It was best to divide it equally. Then we'll arrange it according to the order of strength and arrival. Yu Chengbai said. The sage pavilion was very strong. He was the first to arrive. No matter what, he would be first in line. Okay. I agree. Those shameless people agreed. They didn't see Sima Yoyue's face getting darker and darker. They wanted to divide Little Two's flesh and blood equally. Sima Yue saw that those guys were discussing enthusiastically. Many people looked at Little Two with undisguised killing intent. She was getting angrier and angrier. She sneered. You guys are too much. Do you really think this continent is your backyard? That you can do whatever you want? If you want to kill Little Two for his flesh and blood, have you asked for our opinion? Chapter 724. Sima Yuyue's cold voice interrupted their discussion. They looked at her, as if they were looking at a tiny ant. A tiny ant dares to speak to us like this? How audacious! An old woman shouted. Although you have the golden-winged great rock, your contracted beast won't be of much use here today. Although there are many bird races in the dark forest, there aren't any big races. You, the king of the rocks, are useless. You'd better obediently hand over the auspicious beast, and we can still give you a way out. When Sima Yuyu heard these words, she was both angry and amused, saying, You want to kill my family, but you're still so self-righteous. It seems like when you cultivate, you've not only cultivated your spirit energy, but also your skin, right? Otherwise, how could he be so shameless? B*** starred. One of the elders choked on Sima Yuyue's words and sent a wave of spiritual energy towards Sima Yuyue. Sima Yuyue pulled Little Two and Little Seven and retreated. The spiritual energy hit a black rock, and ripples appeared on the surface of the lake. The enchantment enveloped the entire lake. This was the array left behind by Fan Lei. Previously, it had failed because Little Two had absorbed all the surrounding spiritual power, but it was not destroyed. The position she was standing at just now was the array stone that activated the array. Once spiritual power entered the array stone, the array automatically activated. This spirit formation was one of the most difficult spirit formations. Just activating it was not something an ordinary person could do. With her current strength, it would take a while before she could inject enough spiritual energy. In order to catch them off guard, she had angered those people just now, so that someone could help her. Who would have thought that those old fellows would be so easily provoked, that someone would come to their aid so quickly? Fortunately, someone had sealed the space above the small lake. So when those people came, they were not above the small lake, so there was no outsider in the enchantment. Little Seven, Little Two, pay attention to the situation outside. If someone attacks, inject your spiritual energy inside. She instructed. Yu, what are you doing? Little Seven asked. I'm going to set up an array. Since these people want to kill Little Two, I'll make them suffer. Sima Yue finished speaking, and took out a large array stone. This was something she had exchanged with Cho Xiaotian in the southern 7 prefectures. There were only a few pieces in total. Originally, she wanted to use it when the array's strength was higher, but in this situation, she had to use it. Sima Yue placed the array stone in the center of the island in the middle of the lake, then took out some ordinary array stones to set up on the island. Of the island. When the people outside saw that the small lake was covered by a thin layer of mist, and the small island at the center of the lake had disappeared, they were astonished for a moment. However, they immediately reacted. That person must have made a move and activated some kind of formation. This is a formation? Yu Qingbi asked in astonishment. Master. Nalan Lan said. This array was there before. We were blocked by this array for a long time. Later on, for some reason it lost its effectiveness. I didn't expect it to still be usable now. It's just a spirit formation. Just break it for her. An old man who came with Yu Qingbi said indifferently. At the same time, he prepared to condense spiritual energy to attack the barrier. Wait! A middle-aged man came out from behind, and looked at the array excitedly. Jun, what are you doing? Yu Qingbi knew this man. He was an elder of an array sect. Seeing him like this, he asked in a deep voice. Yu Qingbi, do you know what kind of array this is? Jun asked. Isn't it just an ordinary obstruction array? Why are you making such a fuss about it? Yu Qingbi said. You're wrong. This is an array formation. It's an array formation. Jun said excitedly. So what if it's an array formation? Do you remember that there was a sect that lived on arrays? It was popular in the primordial lands. All the forces bowed their heads and then disappeared in an instant? Jun asked. Why don't I know? Didn't your sect use their inheritance as a banner to establish a sect? What does this have to do with the current situation? An old woman in black came out and asked. Sima Yue just looked up and saw the logo on the old woman in black's clothes. She recognized that it was the logo of Cloud Cave. The people of Cloud Cave also came? It was the first time she saw the people of Cloud Cave, after the Little Realm cheated the people of Cloud Cave. Thinking of Wu Lingyu's chat, she said that Cloud Cave was recently fighting with Divine Devil Valley. Now that she saw the people of Cloud Cave, she had to entertain her well. She just didn't know what the status of this person was in Cloud Cave. And hey, you don't know. Jun bowed to Auntie Hei and said, this spirit formation is unique to the sect that day, and it is a formation that only core disciples can learn. Now that it has appeared here, aren't you curious at all? This array was arranged by the people of the heavenly sect. It's not the people of that sect. Yu Qingbi said. That sect has disappeared for nearly 1,000 years. How can this be related to that sect? Well, get out of the way. We don't have time to discuss this array, and a sect that has disappeared. Yes, Jun. Wait until we break the barrier. If you want to study the array, just find the broken array. Now get out of the way. Aunt Hei also said. Jun saw that everyone was looking at him and didn't dare to say anything. He just retreated to the back and guessed how this array was related to the heavenly sect. When this was over, he would go to the heavenly sect and ask in person. Thinking of visiting the heavenly sect in the future, he didn't want to go against the heavenly sect. And this Sima Yue was a student of the heavenly sect. He couldn't embarrass her. In the battle between the array and the heavenly sect, he was hesitant. When he didn't pay attention, he heard a boom. Yu Qingbi and the others were already attacking the barrier. The first attack made the array tremble, but it wasn't completely broken. Little 2 and Little 7 quickly injected their spirit power into the place that Sima Yue said, and patched the barrier a little. Yu, the sect's attack is very powerful. We can only hold on for a while. Little 7 said. Sima Yue thought for a while and called out Chongming. Think of a way to stall for 5 minutes. She didn't want Qian Yin and the others to come out, because she didn't want Nalan Lan to know that it was her. Moreover, they weren't strong enough. It was useless for them to come out. But now it seemed that she needed her help. In fact, she thought too much. When Nalan Lan was in the Nalan family, she didn't receive much news from the outside world. After she came to the Nalan family, she had been in seclusion to stimulate her body. After she came out, she didn't hear about Chongming. She hadn't seen Chongming in the sacred city before she was brought to the primordial lands. Therefore, she didn't know Chongming. Chapter 725. Chongming nodded at Sima Yue. His hands began to move rapidly. A ripple began to spread out from his hands, and finally attached to the barrier. The barrier that was originally on the verge of collapse seemed to have been wrapped up and became stable again. Ugh! After doing this, he knelt down on one knee and clutched his chest. Blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Chongming, how are you? Little 2 and Little 7 were released from the array and hurried over to support him. Chongming, are you hurt? Chongming waved his hand and said, It's fine. It's just that it's a bit difficult for me to use this move with my current strength. Sima Yue also noticed that something was wrong with Chongming, but she was busy setting up the array and had no time to check on him. She took out a pill and threw it over. Little 2 caught it and immediately fed it to him. Chongming felt better after eating the pill. He stood up and said, This spatial distortion is different from others. This can distort the space outside the barrier, so that their attacks can't touch the barrier. However, I won't be able to maintain this barrier for long. Once the time is up, this barrier will most likely disappear in an instant. Sima Yue threw the array stones into the ground one by one, and the array patterns were drawn at the same time. The various techniques were dazzling. At this time, the people outside also realized that something was wrong. Our attacks seemed to have been swallowed by something. They didn't touch the enchantment at all, Auntie Hay said with a frown. Spatial distortion. Xie Jun said. This must be spatial distortion. What is spatial distortion? Yu Chengbi asked. Space distortion is the distortion of the layer of space outside the barrier. When our attacks touch the distorted layer, they will be transmitted into the void. So even if we attack now, it will be useless, Xie Jun explained. Then what should we do? There's no other way. Once it was used, it could only wait for it to dissipate. If one wanted to use space distortion, they would need to be very strong. That person's strength was very low, so it was impossible for him to use this move. He must have used some other method. This kind of maintenance time is generally not long. Just wait for the time to pass. Xie Jun said. Let's wait then. He's just a god emperor brat. What kind of waves can he make? Yu Chengbai sneered. He didn't need to say that. Everyone could only wait. What else could they do? All the attacks were useless. No one could do anything. 5 minutes passed, and Sima Yu finished setting up the array. She just had to insert her spirit energy, and it would be activated immediately. She came to Halcyon's side and said gratefully, Thank you, Halcyon. Go back and rest. Halcyon nodded and allowed her to take him back. Sima Yoyua's and then looked at the group of people who were getting more and more impatient. With a cold expression her face. Xiao Qi, I'm going to trigger the tribulation lightning. Everyone here will be treated as the tribulation lightning. But Xuanyu. But to Yu. But you don't know. You can trigger the lightning tribulation. Little Seven looked at Sima Yue in surprise. She was still thinking about how she would deal with these people. She thought of countless ways, but she didn't expect her to do this. Sima Yue nodded. Even if Little Two is willing to follow them, these people don't intend to let us leave alive. So many experts are surrounding us. Do we have any other way to leave? Since that's the case, let's wipe them all out. Little Seven looked at Sima Yoyue's face. She didn't think that she was cruel. Instead, she was excited, but she was still a little afraid when she thought about lightning tribulation. I've never experienced lightning tribulation. I don't know if this is the reason why I can't evolve. Maybe I can try. Little Seven thought. Maybe I can try this time. Little Seven, this lightning tribulation is very powerful. If you don't want to experience it, I can send you to a place. You can only come out after this matter is over. Sima Yu continued when she saw that she was silent. Yu, I'll go with you. Little Seven said affirmatively. But I've never experienced lightning tribulation. If something happens, remember to send my body back to Old Yuan. Will you lose your life if you experience lightning tribulation? I don't know. Little Seven said. I'm not human. If I want to increase my strength, I have to evolve. But I haven't evolved for many years. Actually, I was willing to follow you because my intuition told me that if I follow you, I might be able to cross this bottleneck and evolve. But I don't know what's going on. Maybe this is my chance to evolve. I want to try. Sima Yue guessed that Little Seven had a purpose for following her. But Su Jin said that she wasn't in danger, so she didn't ask about it. She didn't expect that she did it for this. You haven't experienced lightning tribulation. If you can't take it, tell me. I'll send you there. Okay. Sima Yue and Little Two agreed. Then she said to Little Two, You just evolved into an auspicious beast. It's good for you to experience lightning tribulation. Like Little Seven, if you can't take it, I'll send you in. Little Two nodded. Boom. As soon as the time was up, the space returned to normal. The people outside couldn't wait to break the enchantment. After delaying for so long, you've lived a little longer. Aunt Hay said, Now offer your flesh and blood. She spoke in a rewarding tone, as if it was an honor for Little Two to offer his flesh and blood. If you want to take my life, then let's see if you have the ability. Little Two didn't have the slightest fear. Even if he was forced by so many forces, he still held his head high. Sima Yue looked around at the people outside. There were nearly 200 forces in the middle and outer regions. They were all led by elders or sect masters. Thank you for thinking so highly of us. There are actually so many forces coming to take our lives. Seeing that it's not easy for everyone to cultivate, if anyone leaves. What a joke. Who would leave at this time? A white-bearded old man scolded. Sima Yue saw the Tianshan sect's old ancestor standing behind the old man. She knew that he should also be the Tianshan sect's old ancestor. She sneered. Your Tianshan sect's old ancestor's lifespan is coming to an end. Naturally, you won't want to leave. But you may be stupid, but others aren't as stupid as you. There will always be people who want to leave. If you leave now, I can let bygones be bygones. Ha 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 ha. A person who is about to die can actually say that he will let bygones be bygones. Do you think you can live? Sima Yue glanced at the man and didn't say anything. She was too lazy to waste her breath on people who were about to die. Chapter 726. The following is provided for you. 726. Please enjoy. We withdraw, Xiejun suddenly said. Xiejun, are you out of your mind? Someone sneered. Xiejun cupped his hands at Sima Yue and said, We quit. Sima Yue waved at him, indicating that they could leave. She was grateful to Xiejun. When he saw the barrier, he stopped everyone from attacking immediately and bought her some time. Moreover, he did not reveal any killing intent afterwards. He did not want to take their lives. Xiejun took his people and flew away. They didn't open a spatial channel to leave. Instead, like everyone else, they watched from afar. He also wanted to know how this person was going to get out of this predicament. Sima Yue looked at the others and said, Is there anyone else who wants to leave? No one said anything. All right, since you don't want to leave, you can stay. Sima Yue said as she channeled some spiritual energy into her feet. The array that she had just set up was instantly activated. Those people felt a slight fluctuation in the air, but they did not take it to heart. Xiejun, who was already far away from the center of the forest, changed his expression. Dragon trapping array. It's actually the dragon trapping array. He cried out involuntarily. The person behind him saw him turn pale with fright and asked curiously, Master, what kind of formation is the dragon trapping array? Why are you so surprised? The dragon trapping formation is also a formation left behind by the sect. It is an extremely powerful trapping formation. There weren't many formations required, but they were difficult to set up. The incomplete formation at the back of our mountain is the dragon trapping formation. It's a pity that we haven't been able to come up with a simple method like we did back then. I didn't expect to see it with my own eyes today. What a surprise! Master, the defense array and the dragon trapping array both appeared in the Heavenly Heaven School. Could there be people from the sect in the school? Very likely, Xiejun said. Fortunately, we came out. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to come out now. Xiejun sighed. Master, even you can't break this dragon trapping array? Even a true dragon wouldn't be able to escape from the dragon trapping array, let alone us. Xiejun said. Moreover, this dragon trapping array is ever-changing. As long as there is a little difference, the way to break it will be different. Therefore, since ancient times, the only person who can break this dragon trapping array is the person who set it up. In other words, apart from that person, no one else can come out. In theory, yes. What is this person trying to do? Although this dragon trapping array is powerful, it also trapped them inside. Let's wait and see, Xiejun said. Maybe they can really leave this place. The other onlookers were confused by Sima Yue's move. Why did she trap herself with those people? As an array formation master, Hong Wu could tell at a glance that this was a trapping array that trapped everyone together. Where did this trapping array come from? Aniani asked. Of course it was arranged by Yue. Fatty Chu said proudly. She's also an array master? Aniani's eyes widened in surprise. Of course it is. If not, where would this array come from? Fatty Chu glanced at Aniani with a look that said, Are you stupid? Isn't she an alchemist? Who said that an alchemist can't be an array master? The 10 great evils were stunned again. This guy was also an array master? Wasn't this too horrifying? Fatty Chu saw the shock on their faces and snickered in his heart. When they were with her, they were shocked by her from time to time. These people didn't know anything about her yet. After a while, Hongwu said faintly, "Not only is she an array master, she's also a very powerful array master. This array can't be set up by ordinary array masters, let alone in such a short time. But she trapped everyone together. How are they going to come out?" Shurchen asked. "She's not in a hurry to come out now. Those people who dare to have designs on Yue can wait to go to hell." Fatty Chu clenched his fist and snorted. Shurchen and Feng Kai looked at each other, not understanding what they were doing. Just at this moment, Hongwu suddenly shouted, "Array within array." Everyone knew what array within array was. Nie and the rest had heard him mention it more than once. Although he also knew how to set up an array within an array, he definitely couldn't set it up in such a short time. Heavens, what kind of genius is she? Hongwu looked at Sima Yue, his eyes shining. Nie and the rest had never seen him like this. Sima Yue stood on the spot, looking at the group of people who finally reacted and smiled sweetly. "Why did you trap us?" Yu Chengbai and the rest stared at her, not hiding the killing intent in their eyes. If she hadn't suddenly activated a small array to protect the three of them, they would have already killed them all. "I'll treat you all to a big meal," Sima Yue said. "I feel that I haven't stretched my muscles for a long time, so I'll treat you all together." Everyone didn't understand what she meant, but a bad premonition arose in their hearts. Sima Yue mobilized the top-grade purple lightning in her body, and her body emitted a special aura. Following the release of this aura, dark clouds began to condense in the sky. Everyone present were strong cultivators who had experienced many things. But once the aura of the lightning tribulation appeared, their faces changed. There were so many of them together, and they were all very strong. If they were to undergo the tribulation together, they were afraid that the lightning tribulation would directly strike them into pieces. Lightning tribulation? Why is there a lightning tribulation? It's her. She must have caused it. Sima Yue admitted generously, "That's right, I caused it. Didn't I say that I'll invite everyone to stretch their muscles with me? That's right. I was the only one who went through the tribulation. This time, there are so many people who are going to be struck by lightning with me. I'm very happy." "You're so despicable," Ma Lin scolded. "Despicable?" Sima Yue suddenly laughed. "So many of you have surrounded us here, wanting to kill me and take my brother's flesh and blood. Aren't you despicable? This is an open and above-board counterattack. Quickly stop. Don't trigger the lightning tribulation again." Someone shouted. "It's too late. Once the lightning tribulation is triggered, if it doesn't strike people, how will it leave?" Sima Yue kindly told them this fact. Those people also understood that once the lightning tribulation appeared, it would definitely not leave easily. Seeing that the dark clouds were getting deeper and deeper, they couldn't care less about little two, and one by one, they turned to attack the array. As long as the array was broken, they could leave here. Before the lightning tribulation struck, they could leave. Sima Yue saw that their attacks were getting more and more impatient, and laughed. "This is the dragon trapping array. Even if a real dragon is here, it can't get out. You guys should just stop worrying and face the lightning tribulation with me." Hearing her words, those people began to go crazy and attacked the array even more frantically. But it didn't have any effect at all. I love my academy. Actively cooperate with the special operation to combat obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Please report. Thank you, everyone. Chapter 727. The formation couldn't be broken, and the tribulation clouds were getting thicker and thicker. Those old fellows, who usually didn't show their emotions on their faces, changed. Young friend, everything can be discussed. If you open this formation, we won't want the blood of the auspicious beast anymore. How about that?" Someone gave in and tried to put in a good word with Sima Yue. "Don't you think it's too late to say that now?" Sima Yue enjoyed the anger and fear in their eyes with satisfaction. These people were all high and mighty. Presumably, it had been many years since they had tasted the feeling of being at the mercy of others. Young friend, as long as you open up the formation, we're willing to reconcile. Another person called out. Reconcile? Sima Yue was amused by these people who still thought they were superior. If it was before, reconciliation would have been a good choice. But now it's too late. Even if I let you go today and reconcile with you, I'm afraid you won't let me go in the future. If that's the case, why bother trying to reconcile? Little friend, do you really want to become enemies with so many of us? Even if you are a student of the Sky Heaven School, the school won't let you do this. Since persuasion was useless, he changed to threats. What does today's matter have to do with the academy? Sima Yue said. Although we are students of the academy didn't care about this before. It's our own business now. This was also the reason why she had asked Fan Lei to leave. The academy was not directly involved, so when the time came, the academy could not be blamed. Little friend, if I were you, I wouldn't waste my energy on other things right now. Instead, I would prepare for the lightning tribulation. Although I really like to see your regretful faces. Sima Yue said. The grudge between us was formed when you insisted on killing us. I'm not a good-tempered person either. If someone wants to kill me, I'll stick my neck out. Besides, I gave you a chance to leave, but you didn't take it. The color of the tribulation clouds was still darkening, scaring the onlookers, and causing them to continuously retreat. At this moment, the spirit beasts in the forest became frantic, and all of them ran out of the forest. Bei Gong Tang and the others previously felt that they were too far away, but now they were just outside the lightning tribulation. This tribulation cloud feels like it's going to come down. This was the first time Ine had seen such a terrifying lightning tribulation. It gave him a suffocating feeling, as if it could destroy the world. This move of hers is too ruthless. She first trapped them, and then used the lightning tribulation to deal with them. He's going to wipe them all out. The ninth brother, Tao Hongsheng, smacked his lips and sighed. He felt lucky that Sima Yue did not use these tricks to deal with them. If she really wanted to deal with them, the possibility of them breaking out of the encirclement was really small. Feng Zhixing and Tuoba Wuchen were also shocked. Words couldn't describe his feelings, now that Yue was able to trigger the lightning tribulation. This move was indeed ruthless, pulling everyone to undergo the tribulation together. With so many people present, the tribulation would most likely be bigger than anything they had ever seen before. Although those people were very strong, their bodies were not as strong as spirit beasts. In front of the lightning tribulation, they were just a bunch of weaklings. However, the worry in everyone's hearts did not dissipate. Rainbow saw the tribulation cloud, and her eyes were filled with fear. She grabbed Bei Gong Tang's hand and asked in a trembling voice, Sister Bei Gong, such a big lightning tribulation. Brother is inside. Isn't it very dangerous? If even those monarch-ranked experts could not withstand it, how could Sima Yue escape? Yue has the top-grade purple lightning in her body. Normal lightning tribulations do not have much of a threat to her. Bei Gong Tang explained. Do not have much of a threat. Everyone's jaws dropped. They all had the same expression and looked extremely funny. She's too unbelievable. Ine cried out. What is she made of? How can she be so powerful? No one's achievements are obtained for free. Yue has suffered a lot and put in a lot of sweat. Wei Ziqi said emotionally. Although the top-grade purple lightning in her body is very powerful, in order to successfully obtain it, she was struck by the lightning tribulation until her entire body turned into charcoal. Only her internal organs still had a trace of life. That kind of pain is not something that ordinary people can understand. That's right. In order to learn alchemy and arrays, she often did not rest for a few months. She was always immersed in research, so although she has some achievements, it makes people feel even more distressed. Everyone present was moved. They did not think that Sima Yue would experience so much pain. Their gazes towards her were less envious and more admiring. Not to mention other things, just this lightning tribulation alone was something that they did not have the courage to face. Suddenly their faces changed. Everyone stepped back at the same time. The tribulation cloud in the sky was rapidly expanding. Their location was already within the range of the lightning tribulation. Heavens, this lightning tribulation won't destroy the entire forest, right? Fatty Chu cried out. Can you withstand it? Bei Gong Tang and the others also became serious. They were faintly worried. Those who were trapped in the dragon trapping array saw the black tribulation cloud, and their faces became paler. They looked at Sima Yue with eyes full of regret. If they knew it would be like this, even if they could not get the meat of the auspicious beast today, they would not go against her. But there was no medicine for regret in this world. Each of them could only swallow the bitter fruit into their stomachs. Pa dash! Ah dash! The first wave of lightning fell. Many people were struck and screamed. Those who were more powerful condensed a body protection, but it was broken in a few strikes. Bolts of lightning continued to strike down, and miserable screams continued to ring out. Those who were weaker were struck twice and turned into dregs. There were also a few who were in a better state. They weren't in a sorry state, and were instead wrapped in halos of light. For example, Nalan Lan and Yu Chungbai. The two of them were in the protective circle, and looked at the miserable situation outside. Lightning protection divine tool. Someone recognized the thing in Nalan Lan's hand. Nalan Lan and Yu Chungbai were incomparably glad at this time. Because of Nalan Lan's physique, Yu Chungbai calculated that there would be a lightning tribulation when she advanced to the god rank. So he found this thing for her. But when she advanced to the god rank, there was no lightning tribulation. He did not expect it to come in handy now. Sima Yue's small protective array was still protecting the three of them from being struck by lightning. But it could not hold on for long. She looked at the two people who were protected in the air, and frowned in dissatisfaction. Pa dash! Pa dash! Lightning kept falling. She found that she had the most lightning here, and suddenly had an idea. If the two of you can't hold on, call me. After she finished speaking, she flew out of the protective array. Pa dash! A bolt of lightning fell on her body. She only felt that her body was a little numb. There was no pain like before. After the electric current went around her body, it was absorbed by the top-grade purple lightning into the lightning pool. Chapter 728. The following is provided for you. 728. Please enjoy. This was the first time she had been struck by lightning since the heavenly lightning in the nine-star ocean. Thinking of the pain from the previous time, she still had some lingering fears before she came out. She didn't expect it to be so easy this time. She was very happy. This top-grade purple lightning was really quite useful. The top-grade purple lightning in her body felt her thoughts, and looked at her with disdain. Back then, it didn't know how it was absorbed into the body of such a weak chicken. It was simply too embarrassing. No, it had to become stronger quickly. Once it became stronger, it would be able to break away from this weak chicken. Yes, it had to absorb more lightning. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to become stronger. At the thought of this, it absorbed even more frequently, constantly attracting lightning to strike it. Sima Yue realized that the lightning was striking her more frequently. She thought that it was because she left the protection array, and didn't think much about it. She flew towards Nalan Lan and the rest. What are you doing? Go away. Nalan Lan saw Sima Yue coming over, and her expression changed as she screamed. They had been observing the situation outside, and realized that Yue, as the person undergoing the tribulation, was struck by lightning the most times. Now that she came over, wouldn't they be implicated by her, and have to undergo the tribulation together? Sima Yue stopped outside their protection array, and smiled at the people inside. Then she stopped and didn't leave. Pa! A thick lightning bolt struck down. Not only did it strike her, it also struck Yu Chungbi and the rest's protection array. Pa! Pa! A few lightning bolts struck down consecutively. Nalan Lan and Yu Chungbi's hearts trembled. Master, the lightning outside is too strong. I'm afraid this lightning protection array won't last long. Master, we have to think of a way now. Nalan Lan shouted. What can we do now? Yu Chungbi was also anxious. The space has been locked. We can't leave even if we want to. Pa! Ah! A loud boom exploded above their heads. Nalan Lan screamed in fright. Sima Yue did not expect such a huge lightning bolt to strike her. Without any defense, she was turned into charcoal. The top-grade purple heavenly lightning shrank its neck in the lightning pool. Damn it! It had absorbed too much just now and forgot to control its strength. It had attracted such a huge heavenly lightning. It hoped that she didn't notice. Cough cough. She coughed twice and spat out a mouthful of black smoke. Her entire body was charred black, and her hair had turned into an explosive style. Fortunately, her clothes were specially refined, so they wouldn't be burnt. Otherwise she would have to run naked. Damn it! Didn't you say that it wouldn't have any killing power? Why is it so painful? She took out a pill and swallowed it. Only then did the burning pain on her body lessen a little. The tribulation clouds in the sky were still very thick. They didn't disperse, even though they had been striking for so long. This meant that there was still a lot of lightning to come. In the dragon-trapping array, many people had already fainted on the ground or fell into the lake. In short, there were corpses everywhere. There were also some people who used this method to defend against the lightning. However, after being struck for so long, those methods were useless. They could only rely on themselves to receive the heavenly lightning. Sima Yue looked at Little Seven and Little Tuesday. The defense array had already collapsed. The two of them were relying on their own strength to defend against the lightning. Little Two was still fine. Although he was in human form, he had the strong defense of a spirit beast. Little Seven was in a worse state. She had never experienced a lightning tribulation before, and her body wasn't as strong as Little Two's. After being struck by the lightning, she instantly felt as if her body was being torn apart. The spiritual power in her body involuntarily circulated. After that, the two of them were struck a few more times. They were both injured. Although Little Seven ate the pill that Sima Yue gave her, she still felt that she couldn't take it anymore. Brother, Little Seven can't take it anymore. Little Two shouted at Sima Yue. Sima Yue was surrounding Nalan Lan, and the rest to guide the heavenly lightning. When she heard Little Two's shout, she looked down and immediately gave up on them. She quickly flew to the small island and pulled Little Seven into the water. Then, she kept Little Seven into the spirit pagoda. This was the method that she had just thought of. She couldn't make people disappear in broad daylight. However, if she went into the water, who would know where Little Seven went? Water was a conductor. If the lightning went into the water, it would be even more uncomfortable for her. Hence, she quickly came out. After leaving the water, she didn't find trouble with Nalan Lan and her disciple anymore. Instead, she stood on the small island and looked at the grand scene that she created. This top-grade purple lightning is really useful. If it was in the past, I would have collapsed long ago with so much lightning. Sima Yue muttered to herself. When the top-grade purple lightning heard Sima Yue praising it, it smiled proudly. However, in its happiness, it forgot to control its aura and accidentally attracted another heavenly lightning. Pa-dash, the lightning that was as thick as a water bucket hit her body. She was stunned. Isn't it always a small heavenly lightning? What the hell is with such a big lightning? She wailed in her heart. Amitofu, I really didn't do it on purpose. The top-grade purple lightning repented in its heart. It felt that Sima Yue's body seemed to be a little miserable from the lightning. It quickly took measures to remedy it. Sima Yue was in so much pain that she grimaced. Fortunately, after this lightning, there was no other lightning for the time being. It seemed that the entire lightning tribulation needed to rest and then recover. When the others saw that the lightning had stopped, they weren't very happy. This was because the dark clouds didn't seem to have any intention of dissipating. This meant that there was more to come. You brat, you're ruthless. If I don't die today, I will kill you with my own hands. Aunt Hay said hatefully. Their lightning tribulation wasn't as powerful as Sima Yue's, but they were more miserable than her. There was no flesh on Aunt Hay's body. It was all charred black charcoal. However, these old fellows were very strong. They used their spiritual power to protect their heart meridians. They wouldn't die for a while. It would have been better if Aunt Hay didn't say anything. Now that she said it, it reminded Sima Yue that she couldn't let them have a chance to leave. These old things underestimated the enemy, so they gave her time to implement her plan. She couldn't make the same mistake as them. After making up her mind, she looked at the dark clouds in the sky, and then smiled very unscrupulously. Since you've said so, I definitely can't let you leave alive. She ate a pill, and waited for the next wave of lightning to come. Aunt Hay's heart went numb when she saw Yu's smile. What bad things was she going to do again? Pa-dash, the lightning began to strike randomly. Sima Yue suddenly flew up from the island, and ran straight to Aunt Hay. Auntie Hay was originally hanging on by a breath. As a result, when Sima Yu came, the center of the lightning immediately shifted to her. Several bolts of lightning struck together, directly turning her into a pile of slag. I love my academy. Actively cooperate with this special action to combat obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Thank you. Chapter 729. The following is provided for you. 729. Please enjoy. This time, not only did Aunt Hay disappear, but the people nearby were also not spared. Sima Yue was satisfied with the result, and began to run around in the dragon-trapping array. Wherever she went, the lightning was especially fierce. Those who were still stubbornly resisting saw her coming, and ignored the pain in their bodies and ran around. When the onlookers outside saw her like this, they could not help but twitch their mouths. It was obviously a very serious matter, but they made people feel inexplicably happy. This guy is too bad. Anayani commented. The others nodded in agreement. He was really too bad. But why did they not hate him at all? Instead, they liked him a little? Sima Yue ran one round, and could not run anymore. Those people were struck by lightning, but she was struck even harder. And there were not many left alive. And in the process, Nalan Land's divine artifact was completely destroyed, the protective circle disappeared, and they were also struck by lightning. However, she had a lot of treasures. She took out some clothes and put them on. When the lightning struck her body, the lethality was sharply reduced. After being struck a few times, she did not lie down, but she was also in a sorry state. Her face was distorted from the pain. Yu Qingbi did not have anything good to avoid lightning. He took a few things, but they were all destroyed by the lightning. He had to use his spiritual power to resist. He was in a sorry state. Sima Yue saw that almost all of them had fallen to the ground, and felt that it was worth it to be struck so hard. Suddenly, her face changed and she secretly shouted, "Not good." Because the lightning tribulation was too powerful, when it struck, even the space was distorted. It had unintentionally broken the dragon-trapping array. Yu Qingbi and Nalan Lan were happy to see this. Nalan Lan shouted, "Master!" Yu Qingbi was in pain all over, but at this time, he could only grit his teeth and endure. He took out a boundary-breaking talisman, and injected his spiritual power. But before he could open it, he was struck by lightning, and was charred on the outside and tender on the inside. Yu Qingbi felt that he had never suffered such an injury in his life. His heart was full of hatred. He really wanted to tear Sima Yue apart with his own hands. However, he didn't have the time or energy to do so now. He threw away the remaining half of the breaking boundary talisman in his hand, and took out another one. He managed to open a space tunnel before the lightning struck. However, before they could enter, another bolt of lightning struck the two of them. By the time the two of them recovered, the passage had already closed. After wasting 2 boundary-breaking talismans in a row, Yu Qingbi's heart ached. He took out the last piece. If they failed this time, they would probably die here today. Fortunately, he succeeded this time. The lightning seemed to have struck him twice, and he wanted to take a break, which gave him enough time. "Let's go." Yu Qingbi pulled Nalan Lan into the spatial passage. "Master, seeing your apprentice brother, Nalan Lan looked at the piece of charcoal in the distance, which had already been struck to its last breath. "I don't have time to care about him. Let's go." Just as the two of them entered, the passageway closed. The two of them had successfully escaped. Before leaving, Nalan Lan turned around and saw Sima Yue. Suddenly, her eyes widened as if she had recognized her. The lightning struck her human skin mask, and she was now showing her original appearance. Although her face was now charred black, her outline could still be recognized. Because the power of the lightning tribulation had increased, Sima Yue was also a little overwhelmed. She could only watch as Nalan Lan and Yu Qingbi broke the boundary and left. Damn you! You can even escape like this. She cursed in her heart and continued to resist the lightning. Although Yu Qingbi and Nalan Lan had escaped, the others were not so lucky. Although most of them had the breaking boundary talisman in their hands, they had been struck by lightning for so long that they no longer had the ability to use it. They could only watch as the chance of survival slipped away from their hands. There were a few who could barely fly. However, before they could fly far, they were destroyed by the lightning. As more and more people were destroyed, the power of the lightning tribulation became weaker and weaker. It was not like before, where the last lightning strike was always the most powerful. Half an hour later, the tribulation cloud had enough lightning and left satisfied. Sima Yue was now lying on the ground and could not get up. Although she was now immune to lightning, she could not withstand such lightning strikes. Moreover, there were always a few big ones from time to time, which made her whole body hurt. Little Tu was lying beside her. His situation was worse than hers. However, as long as he was still breathing, it was fine for them. The onlookers flew over. Feng Zhixing and the others flew the fastest. They came to Sima Yue's side. Yue, how are you? Feng Zhixing saw that she was covered with cuts and bruises. He was very distressed. It was all because he was not strong enough to intimidate these people. Otherwise, why would she do such a thing when she was surrounded? Tuoba Wuchen saw Feng Zhixing's expression and knew what he was thinking. Seeing him blaming himself, he could not help but roll his eyes in his heart. Big brother, look at the charred corpses everywhere. Your little disciple is already very good, okay? Although Sima Yue was in pain, it was not as bad as the last time. She was lying on the ground. Looking at the people who surrounded her, she said, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Go and see if there are any survivors. Bei Gong Tang and the others understood tacitly and immediately went to check. They really did discover that a few of them were still alive. These people were all very strong and had a lot of secret methods. They actually survived such a destructive lightning tribulation. However, before they could be happy, Bei Gong Tang and the others found them. Then, taking advantage of their heavy injuries, they all got rid of them. From then on, the people who surrounded them, other than Xie Jun and his disciples who left, and Nalan Lan and her master who escaped, were all annihilated. Yue, quickly tell master how are you? Feng Zhixing wanted to take Sima Yue's pulse, but her body was already burnt. He did not know where to start. Master, I'm fine. I just need to eat some pills. I'll be fine in 2 or 3 days. Sima Yue smiled at Feng Zhixing, but that appearance was as ugly as it could be. The 10 great villains, Xie Jun and the others who rushed over were all shocked when they heard her call Feng Zhixing master. They thought that she had a good relationship with Feng Zhixing. They did not expect that she was his disciple. They were very clear about the strength of the Feng clan in the inner regions. They had a family in the inner regions. If they stomped their feet in the inner regions, the entire inner regions would tremble. And Feng Zhixing was also an influential figure that they knew. He was a junior with a very high position in the Feng family, and he was actually her master. The 10 great villains were shocked by Sima Yue's surprise. The more they knew, the more they admired her, although her age was only a fraction of theirs. Yue, it's all settled. Bei Gong Tang and the others returned. Fatty Chu was still leading the elders of the Egret clan to clean up the corpses. Just when everyone thought that the matter was completely over, there was suddenly a slight fluctuation in space. Soon a space channel opened, and a few people walked out from it. Thank you, everyone. Chapter 730. When Yuan Shaojie led his men out, the first thing they saw was the charred corpses strewn all over the ground. The plants and trees were all gone. It was a complete mess. The fact that Fan Lei was still standing there in one piece put their hearts at ease. What happened? Who had the ability to destroy the heart of the dark forest? Old Yuan, what took you so long? When Fan Lei saw Yuan Shaojie, he felt a little resentful. If he had come earlier, this child would not have to use such a method. As soon as I received your message, I rushed over with my men. What happened? Yuan Xiaojie was a little surprised. Why was this guy, who was usually cold and arrogant, acting so strange today? Fan Lei briefly recounted what had happened today, shocking Yuan Xiaojie and the people behind him. Hundreds of monarch-level experts were all killed. Su Jin was astonished. Then he laughed out loud. Ha ha ha, not bad, as expected of my disciple so domineering. Master, do you have to be so happy? I've offended hundreds of forces in one go. Sima Yue could not help but mock him when she saw him laughing so happily. What are you afraid of? If there's anything, you still have your masters. Su Jin said disapprovingly. The other two people who came with Yuan Xiaojie weren't paying attention to this. When they heard Fan Lei mention the dragon trapping formation, they started to wander around the small island. Then, they ran over excitedly and said, "It really is the dragon trapping formation. Who set up this array formation?" "Yue set it up," Fan Lei said. "If it weren't for this array formation, I'm afraid things wouldn't have ended so easily. If those people hadn't been trapped, they would have left directly and returned after the thunder tribulation. Yu and the others would have been in danger." When the two of them heard that it was Yue who had set it up, their expressions changed. They looked surprised, hesitant, and in disbelief. One of them even looked wary. They wanted to say something, but before they could speak, they were interrupted by Su Jin. "If you have anything to say it later. My disciple needs to rest. Can't you see that she suffered such serious injuries?" These two old fellows shouldn't have any ideas about his disciple. Otherwise, he wouldn't be polite to them. Even if their identities were very honorable, he was not an incompetent person. Sima Yue recognized them. They were the two who were guarding the teleportation formation outside the inner yard. Why are they here together? Yuan Xiaojie looked around and didn't see Little Seven. He asked, "Yue, where's Little Seven? He couldn't have been taken away, right?" "Dean, don't worry. Little Seven is in a safe place," Sima Yue replied. She didn't elaborate further. "All right, let's leave this place," Su Jin said. The place was filled with corpses, and it was not a good place to talk. Yuan Xiaojie and the others also wanted to know more about what had happened, so they said, "Then let's go to the nearest city." Sima Yuming stepped forward and carried Sima Yue. Fan Lei went up and picked Little Two up. At this time, Xie Jun came forward with his men and bowed to the crowd. Then he bowed to Sima Yue and said gratefully, "Thank you for sparing my life today." Sima Yue saw that his attitude was good and smiled. "The person who saved your life today is you. I just gave you a chance. If you didn't give us this chance, we wouldn't have made the right choice," Xie Jun said. "If you need it in the future, you can take the token and look for me directly." Sima Yuqi took the token. "We'll take our leave." Xie Jun bowed to the crowd and left with his men. Although he wanted to ask Yuan Xiaojie and the others about the spirit barrier, he knew that now was not the time. They still had a lot of things to deal with. If he disturbed them now, it might be annoying. The other people who were watching the fun also left. This incident had a big impact on them. If they encounter such things in the future, they must not be hot-headed. They must recognize the situation. Otherwise, if they lost their lives, they would lose everything. Yuan Xiaojie was about to open the space tunnel when Sima Yue suddenly stopped him. "Dean, wait a minute. I have something to deal with." "What else do you have to do?" Sima Yue looked at the Flamingo King. The Flamingo King hurriedly came to her and said, "I didn't know it was the King's contract master. If I offended you, please punish me." The Flamingo King felt Little Rock's aura from behind and rushed over. When he arrived, Sima Yue was already in the dragon trapping array. "Well, you have to be punished," Sima Yue said. The Flamingo King felt cold all over. If he was in human form, he would be sweating. Seeing him trembling, she rolled her eyes and said, "I haven't said how to punish you. Why are you all trembling?" "I offended the King's contract master and should be executed," the leader said. Did they think she was going to kill them? "Okay, stop trembling. If you continue to tremble, your feathers will fall off." Sima Yue didn't scare them and said, "I'm still relatively easy to talk to. You didn't know before, so I don't intend to kill you. In order to take a warning, you have to hand over 20 bird eggs." Just giving 20 bird eggs was enough? The birds were surprised. Why, you don't want to? Or do you want me to take your life? Sima Yue asked in a deep voice when she saw that they didn't respond. No, no. The Flamingo King said. We will give you the eggs. Go back and get 20 eggs. Although it was distressing, this punishment was really light compared to the extermination of so many clansmen. Sima Yulin and the others didn't expect Sima Yue to still be thinking about their mission at this time. They didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Wouldn't it be better to wait for her to heal and then come back to take a look? What they didn't know was that after this incident, she didn't plan to come to the dark forest again. In this place, she wouldn't come as long as she didn't have to. Killing so many strong people at once, her little heart still couldn't calm down. Soon the flamingo eggs were sent over. Sima Yue calmly put them away. She didn't say that this was actually the sex mission. Okay, you can go back. She began to drive them away as soon as she got the things. We will take our leave. The Flamingo King hurriedly flew away with his clansmen, heartbroken at the loss of 20 bird eggs. Let's go too, Su Jin said. Yuan Xiaojie opened the space tunnel, but before it was fully opened, the tunnel closed again for some reason. What's wrong? Su Jin asked. Someone is controlling this space. Yuan Xiaojie said. Even you can't open it? Fan Lei's expression changed. The person who came is stronger than me. Yuan Xiaojie's face was solemn. Everyone was silent. Who was it that could actually trap all of them in this small world? Chapter 731. The following is the little two's true identity provided for you. Please enjoy. Sima Yue's heart sank. They had already controlled the space before they even arrived. How strong were they? If they were here for little two, would they have the ability to stop them? And with her current state, even if she wanted to trigger the lightning tribulation, she wouldn't be able to. But if they couldn't protect little two, she didn't dare to think further. If they really couldn't, they could only ask her for help. She just didn't know if she would make it in time. After a while, the space tunnel opened, and a few tall people with golden eyes walked out. They glanced at everyone present, and many of them knelt down directly. Sima Yue felt her breathing tighten. It was as if a mountain was pressing down on her, and she couldn't breathe at all. Even Yuan Xiaojie and the rest had some difficulty and lowered their heads slightly. What a strong pressure! When they saw Little Two, the leader waved his hand, and Little Two flew from Fan Lei's hand and landed in his arms. Let go of Little Two, Fatty Chu shouted anxiously. Who are you? One of them snorted and Fatty Chu fell to the ground, his bones broken. Fatty! Ouyang Fei and the rest surrounded Fatty Chu in the middle to protect him. However, it was useless for them to do so. Who are you? Fan Lei held back his anger and asked. Who we are is not something you can ask. The one holding Little Two said. This is one of us. We want to take him away. I saved Little Tuesday. He is my brother. You want to take him away. But have you asked for our permission? Sima Yue came down from Sima Yuming's body. Her body was completely unrecognizable. But she still straightened her body and looked at them fearlessly. A little human dares to climb up to my clan. You overestimate yourself. The leader exerted pressure on Sima Yue, wanting to take her life. But the pressure was pushed back by a gentle force. Who? That person shouted. Although he was injured by his own strength, he was furious. Sima Yue felt a cold and gentle force flowing through her body. She felt much better. Aunt Feng, she called out joyfully. Feng Ruyan's figure came out from Sima Yue's body. Looking at her current appearance, she frowned. How did it end up like this? Feng Ruyan was a little unhappy as she raised her head to look at those people and asked. Did they do it? Aunt Feng, it wasn't them. I was the one who triggered the lightning tribulation and was struck by lightning. Sima Yue said. Only a life and death situation can touch me. So these people want to kill you? Feng Ruyan looked at those people indifferently. Who would have thought that just one look from him would make these arrogant people lower their heads? The leader bowed towards Feng Ruyan and said, Ancestor Feng, we are the descendants of the ancient divine ape. My name is Huabin. These children have the bloodline of our clan. Today, we are here to take them away. I didn't mean to make things difficult for these people. Ancient divine ape? Sima Yue was shocked. She had never heard of this when she was in the middle region. She thought that little two had the bloodline of the middle region's full ape. But it seemed that this was not the case. No, I don't want to go with you. Little two woke up. When he heard that they wanted to take him away, he struggled without caring about his injuries. I want to be with Big Brother and Big Sister. I don't want to go with you. Big Brother Yue, I don't want to go. Save me. Sima Yue saw that Little Two was against it and said, You heard it. Little Two said that he doesn't want to go with you. You are the descendant of the ancient divine ape. Your bloodline cannot be left outside. If you don't want to return to the clan, even if your bloodline is noble, we can't keep you. The leader said, Big Brother, I don't want to go. If I go, I won't be able to see you again. I will be trapped in a small corner for the rest of my life, and will never see the light of day again. Little Two struggled. Who said that we will trap you for the rest of your life? Huabin slapped Little Two's head. Thinking of his strength, Sima Yue and the rest were afraid that he would smash Little Two into pieces. In the end, nothing happened to Little Tuesday. Didn't you say that you want to go back? If you go back, won't you not be able to come out? Little Two retorted. Letting you go back is to let you acknowledge your ancestors and train you better. It's not like we want to restrict your freedom. Huabin was angered by Little Two's ability to understand. Then can I come out? Little Two asked. If you can pass the test, you can come out. Huabin said. Oh. Little Two was silent for a while and said, Big Brother, I will go with them. Little Two, have you thought it through? Sima Yue looked at him and asked. Big Brother, I want to become stronger. Little Two said. Today's matter, if it wasn't because I was too weak and attracted so many people's attention, why would there be so many people surrounding and attacking us? If it wasn't because I was weak, why would I need Big Brother to use such a method to protect me? Although those lightning bolts struck your body, every single one of them struck my heart. Every time, it was Big Brother who saved me and protected me. I also want to protect Big Brothers. When Sima Yue heard Little Two's words, her eyes became warm. However, she was still worried and turned to look at Feng Ruyen. Aunt Feng. I have some relations with the ancient ape ancestor, and know some things. It's not bad for this child to go back. Feng Ruyen said. Since Feng Ruyen said it was not bad, she was relieved and said to Little Two, Since you want to go back, then go back. After all, they are your clansmen. However, if you leave, we won't be able to protect you in the future. You have to take care of yourself, understand? And then, Little Two nodded. He did not feel too bad because he had made up his mind. As long as he went back, he would come back to find them when he became stronger. Let's go back. Huabin ordered. Little Two agreed, and Sima Yue did not have any objections. Naturally, Feng Ruyen did not have any objections. The few of them bowed to Feng Ruyen, and then opened a space tunnel to leave. They originally thought that it would be a fierce battle, but in the end, it was resolved so easily. Those who had not gone far were surprised. However, today's matter gave them enough things to talk about. It was not a wasted trip. It was just that they did not know what species took Little Two away, and who was the person in Sima Yue's body. Aunt Feng, thank you. Sima Yue smiled gratefully at Feng Ruyen. Feng Ruyen looked at Sima Yue. Compared to a few years ago, she had improved a lot. It was beyond her expectations. Your improvement is very fast, but it's not enough. Continue to work hard. In the future, I will not sleep too deeply. After speaking, she returned to Yue's sea of consciousness. After Feng Ruyen left, her powerful aura dissipated in Yuan Xiaojie, and the rest could finally relax. Thinking that there was such a person in Sima Yue's body, everyone looked at her as if they were looking at a monster. I love my academy. Actively cooperate with this special action to combat obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Thank you, everyone. Chapter 732. Let's go back. Please search product #bookYinNet to see the most complete. Sima Yue coughed twice and ignored their stares. Who is that ancestor phoenix? Fan Lei asked directly. Sima Yue shook her head and said, I don't know her identity either. I never asked. Then why did she leave behind a soul imprint? This is no ordinary protection. Because I saved her life before, but I wasn't fully healed, so she wants to save my life. Sima Yue said. Alright, if you're curious, you can ask later. Let's hurry back and treat their injuries. Su Jin said. Master, I'll leave Fatty to you. Sima Yue said. Just take care of yourself. Su Jin harumphed, agreeing to her request. Yuan Xiaojie brought Yue and Fatty back first. The rest of the people went back by themselves. Let's go back too. Tuoba Wuchen said. I really didn't expect her luck to be so good. His luck is better than ours. Feng Zhixing nodded in agreement and said, That's good. This way, the two of them can also. He didn't finish his sentence. Seeing him like this, Tuoba Wuchen sighed with heartache. When she recovers, I want to go back. Feng Zhixing suddenly said. What? You want to go back? Tuoba Wuchen was almost choked to death by his own saliva. His face was full of disbelief. You haven't gone back since that incident. They sent you so many messages but you ignored them. Why do you want to go back now? Because she will go there sooner or later, Feng Zhixing said. Sigh. Tuoba Wuchen sighed again. Back then, you left that place because of her mother's anger. And now you're going back because of her. It's not entirely because of her, Feng Zhixing said. Don't you think that what happened today was because we were too weak? Indeed, if it wasn't because we weren't strong enough, how could 100 or 200 forces force us to the point where we could only watch from the side? Tuoba Wuchen was also very emotional about today's events. Going back there can help us cultivate faster. Sigh. Since you've decided to go back, then I'll go back too. It won't be good if you throw it too far away. Feng Zhixing glanced at Tuoba Wuchen and said, The old man will be very happy. Don't talk about him in front of me. I feel stifled whenever I talk about him. Let's go back and check on her. Tuoba Wuchen sat on the flying beast and left first. The 10 villains also followed them back to Qingcheng. However, they did not go to see Sima Yue. Instead, they returned to their previous courtyard. It wasn't that the people from the Sky Heaven School didn't see them, but because Sima Yue said something before she left, they didn't have to fight. She said, These people are our mission. You old fellows shouldn't fight with us. When Feng Zhixing and the others arrived at Qingcheng, a few days had passed since that day. Sima Yue was more or less recovered. Fatty Chu needed more time to reconstruct his bones, so he was still resting in bed. Master, Uncle Wuchen. Sima Yue saw Feng Zhixing and Tuoba Wuchen and obediently bowed. You're recovering quite quickly. Tuoba Wuchen saw that Sima Yue was fine and smiled. Yes, with Master Su here, I'm recovering quite well. Sima Yue said. We came to find you today to say goodbye. Feng Zhixing said. Master, are you going back? I'm not going back to the clan this time. I'm going to the inner regions. Feng Zhixing said. Going to the inner regions? Why is Master thinking of going to the inner regions? Sima Yue was astonished. If he went to the inner regions, wouldn't she not be able to see him for a while? I'm originally from the inner regions. Feng Zhixing said. Because of some matters, I left the inner regions. Now I've received news that I'm going back. Oh. Sima Yue lowered her head in disappointment and said, Master, you should go. When I'm stronger, I'll go and see you. All right. Feng Zhixing patted her head. You'll go to the inner regions. I'll wait for you there. However, before you reach the monarch rank, you can't go. Yes. Sima Yue nodded. Tuoba Wuchen saw the two of them reluctant to part, and suddenly felt a little sad. Although he lost to that person back then, his daughter's attachment to him should be able to make up for it. Master, are my parents also from the inner regions? Sima Yue asked. Your father is from the inner regions Sima family. Maybe you'll meet them later. Feng Zhixing said. Their clothes have the same pattern as your spatial ring. Sima Yue touched her spatial ring. She knew that it had something to do with her family. Then, Master, are the people from my father's family good? She asked again. If she asked them now, she would know how to get along with them if she met them in the future. They can be considered good. Feng Zhixing hesitated and said, "However, it's not up to us to decide whether they're good or not. You have to find out for yourself." In the past, he thought that they were good, but that incident made him very disappointed in them. However, no matter what he thought, they were still her family. She had to make her own judgment. "I understand." Sima Yue nodded. "I'll see for myself." Based on her understanding of Feng Zhixing, there must be something that hurt him in the past. That was why he gave them such an evaluation. "All right, we have to go. I'll leave some people for you." Feng Zhixing said, "They're all my people. They don't belong to the Feng family. In the future, they'll be your people. You can let them do whatever you want. Bring them with you wherever you go. You offended so many powers that day. I'm not at ease when I leave." He blew the whistle. 10 people walked in from outside. Each of them had the strength of a monarch. "Young master." The 10 people bowed to her. "Swear," Feng Zhixing said lightly. However, there was a majesty in his words that couldn't be disobeyed. The 10 people knelt on one knee and put their hands on their chests. They said in unison, "We're willing to follow young master. We'll recognize young master as our master. We'll protect young master and never betray you." As the oath fell, the silver light entered their chests. Before Sima Yue could stop them, they finished swearing. Now, she had no choice but to bring them with her. "Master." She was a little helpless. She wanted to say that she didn't need these people at all. If he wanted to go back to the inner region, shouldn't he bring more people back? "I brought them out from the inner region. These years they've been to many places with me. They're quite knowledgeable." Feng Zhixing said, "If you have any questions in the future, you can ask them." After speaking, he said to the 10 people, "You won't regret following her in the future. Zhixing, we should go. Otherwise, we won't be able to catch the ship." Tuoba Wuchen urged. Feng Zhixing nodded. He reached out and patted her head before leaving with Tuoba Wuchen. Chapter 733. After Feng Zhixing left, Sima Yue felt a little sad. Please search product %book Yin Yin Net to see the most complete. Update the fastest. She didn't know why, but every time she saw the sadness that Feng Zhixing showed to her from time to time, she felt sorry for him. Mississippi, one of them called out to Sima Yue. "Ah, oh." Sima Yue regained her senses and said, "So what are your names?" The 10 of them reported their names, but Sima Yue was distracted and said, "Since you are master's men, then you should be ranked according to your age. You will be called Feng Yi, Feng Er, Feng San. This isn't a name change, it's just a code name. Understand?" "Whatever Miss says." A square-faced man said. "What's your ranking?" Sima Yue asked. "I'm the oldest." Feng Yi said. "Oh, first wind, what do you guys usually do?" Sima Yue asked. "I followed young master everywhere," First Wind replied. Sima Yue looked at the conversation that was like squeezing toothpaste, and had a headache. However, she couldn't say anything about the people that were given to her by her master, and had even sworn an oath to her. She thought about it and said, "Although master gave you to me, I don't have anything for you to do. Go ahead and do your own things." "Miss, we have to protect you," Feng Yi said. "We have to stay by young Miss's side to ensure your safety," Feng Er said. Sima Yue rubbed her brows and said, "I'm very safe here. You don't have to keep following me. I know that for people like you, time is precious to you." The 10 guards did not speak, but this did not mean that they agreed with her words, but it was a silent protest. Sima Yue was furious and asked with a sullen face, "Whose guards are you now?" "It is the young ladies," answered the 10. "Then you won't listen to me?" "Miss, it's not that we don't want to listen to you," Feng Wu said. "That day us brothers were also there and saw those things. What if someone comes looking for trouble, and we're not around? There are so many ifs. I'm here now, not out," Sima Yue said. Seeing that they were still insistent, she said, "How about this? One of you can stay by my side at a time. I still have things to do. If you keep following us, I can't do anything." The wind ones were hesitant, but when they saw Sima Yue's darkening expression, they had no choice but to agree. "All right then, let's do as young Miss says," Feng Er said. But young miss, one person is too few. If something happens, it will be too late. You have to bring at least 2 people with you. Sima Yue agreed in the end. Hence, when she did not go out in the future, there were 2 more guards by her side. These things should be of some help to your current cultivation. Take them. Sima Yue took out some spirit stones and pills, and gave them to First Wind. Young miss, these things are too precious. You are my people now. You said that I have so many enemies. You have to increase your strength to be able to protect me. Sima Yue said. Take these things and stay in my courtyard. I have something to do now. Feng Air and I will follow young Mississippi. You can go find a room. First Wind took the things from Sima Yue and passed them to Third Wind. All right. Sima Yue brought her 2 tails out of her courtyard and turned a few corners to a courtyard not far away. This place was a local residence. Sima Yue did not know how Su Jin and the rest got their hands on it. She had stayed here for so many days and did not see anyone else. She brought First Wind and Second Wind to Fatty Chu's room. For the convenience of treatment, he had placed him in Su Jin's courtyard. She first saw Su Jin chatting with 2 array masters in the courtyard. She went up and bowed to them, then asked, Master, how is Fatty? With me here, you're still worried that he won't get better? Su Jin snorted. I'm not worried that he won't get better. I just want to ask him how much better he is. Sima Yue said. He'll be able to move in 2 days. He's still paralyzed. Su Jin said. Since you're here, you can tell him not to move if he wants his body to recover. If he wants to be crippled in the future, then he can move as much as he wants. I'll definitely tell him. Sima Yue smiled and replied. Master, I'll go in and take a look at Fatty first. First Wind and Second Wind also wanted to go in, but she left them outside. After Sima Yue went in, Su Jin looked at First Wind and the rest, saying, Big Wei, Little Wei, are they the Feng family shadow guards? Big Wei and Little Wei, who were the 2 array masters, looked at the 2 of them carefully and said, They should be. I say, why aren't you staying in the Feng family? Why are you following my little disciple? Our current master is young Mississippi, First Wind replied faintly. Following my little disciple? Su Jin raised his eyebrows. First Wind nodded. Feng Jixing is really willing. Su Jin sighed. I never thought that I would have a common disciple with him one day. Your disciple's luck is really not bad. Big Wei said. What? Do you really think that my little disciple learned your so-called true teachings? There are many ways to arrange the dragon trapping array. Her method is the simplest, but the effect is the best. This method has already been lost in our sect. If she doesn't have it, then how did she get it? Maybe she just happened to learn it. Or maybe Feng Jixing taught her. Su Jin said. I know that my little disciple's talent is very good. Many people have their eyes on her, but don't even think about it. Old Su, you can't be like this. Little Wei said. How am I like this? Su Jin said. Don't think that I don't know your sex style. It's fine if it's others, but my disciple isn't a normal person. If you want to use force, think about the spirit imprint in her body. We don't mean that. Big Wei said. Then what do you mean? Su Jin said. You 2 can't mean anything. Once the time is up, you 2 should hurry back to your place. Old Su, my little disciple is still young. If you want to have any ideas on her, wait a few years. Su Jin waved his hand and stopped discussing this matter. When Sima Yue came out, she saw that the atmosphere between Su Jin and them was a bit strange. Finished looking? Su Jin asked. He didn't plan on telling them what happened just now. Finished looking, Sima Yue said. Fatty is recovering very well. Many thanks to Master. You should properly thank me, Su Jin said. In order to treat him, I spent a lot of good things. When we get back, I'll slowly pay you back. Sima Yue smiled. All right. I have something to do with Rainbow. I'll leave first. Go. Su Jin waved at her. Oh right, little 7 should be back soon. Hearing him mention it, Sima Yue realized that she had forgotten about little 7. Chapter 734. Sima Yue sensed the situation in the spirit pagoda and realized that little Seven had turned into a milky white ball of flesh. It was piled up like a small mountain in the spirit pagoda. There was a thin layer of mist on the outside of the small meatball, making it impossible to see what was going on inside. Is she evolving? Sima Yue was secretly shocked, but her face remained expressionless. She bowed to Su Jin and turned to leave. Since she was evolving, he would not disturb her. She brought Phone 1 and Phone 2 to Rainbow's courtyard. Big brother, you finally recovered. Rainbow was currently discussing something with Lu Fei. When she saw that Sima Yue had arrived, she ran over happily. Sima Yue pulled Rainbow over. Lu Fei and the old woman stood up and nodded at her. Sima Yue remembered that this old woman used to speak in a high and mighty manner. Now her attitude towards her was quite good. She probably knew Little Rock's identity and had restrained herself. Big brother, these days your master has been protecting you very tightly, not letting us go see you. Rainbow complained. Didn't I come to see you after I recovered? Sima Yue sat down. Lu Fei walked in front of Sima Yue and bowed deeply, saying, Lu Fei has offended you that day. Please forgive me, your majesty. Sima Yue called Little Rock out. When Little Rock saw Lu Fei, his face darkened. You, Little Rock, the ignorant are not guilty. Sima Yue interrupted Little Rock. Little Rock glared at Lu Fei. The golden-winged rock's aura pressed down on Lu Fei. Although Lu Fei didn't kneel, blood still flowed from the corner of his mouth. Uncle. Rainbow saw Lu Fei vomit blood and called out worriedly. She looked at Little Rock pleadingly. Little Rock saw that Rainbow was worried and retracted his aura, saying, I'll let you off this time on Rainbow's account. If you dare to offend me again, I won't let you off so easily. Thank you, big brother Little Peng. Rainbow smiled gratefully at Little Peng. I haven't had the chance to take a good look at Rainbow. It's only been a few years, and you've already grown so big. Little Rock stepped forward and patted Rainbow's head. He smiled and said, Rainbow, we haven't seen each other in so many years. Did you miss us? I do, I really do. Rainbow said. Do you miss us or Chongming? Sima Yue asked with a smile. Big brother, you're making fun of me. Rainbow's face turned red as she said shyly, Chongming, your wife is here. Come out and catch up with her. Sima Yue smiled and called Chongming out. After these days of recuperation, his injuries had recovered a lot. Chongming was also very happy to see Rainbow. That day, he personally sent her to the Tao clan. At that time, she was still a little chick. He had watched her birth, lived with her for so long, and sent her away personally. After being separated for so many years, he really missed her. I believe in myself too. Bayan said. How is your contractor's body now? Sima Yue asked. We locked him up in the house after he came back. His condition shouldn't be good. Grandmother Zhu said. I'll go take a look. For this to happen, his body must be in good condition. If it's too bad, he won't be able to endure the process and will die. You will die too, Sima Yue said. When Rainbow heard this, she hurriedly brought Sima Yue to the house next door. That person was still lying on the bed. Sima Yue glanced at Rainbow. Rainbow stuck out her tongue embarrassedly and explained, I was angry at him for treating Uncle like that. So every time he recovers, I can't help but beat him up. Every time he recovers, he would beat him up and give him pills. When he recovers, he would beat him up again. That was why he ended up like this. Sima Yue went to check his pulse and shook her head. He can't be like this. He needs to be nursed back to health. I'll give him 2 pills. He should recover in 2 days. When the time comes, don't beat him up again. She even dared to do something that defied the heavens. Such a domineering child. Perhaps if they followed her, they would really see a different world. Time passed by minute by minute. After half a day, there was still no movement inside. Rainbow and the others were waiting anxiously outside. Suddenly, a burst of light came from the house. Following that, dark clouds quickly gathered in the sky and locked onto their house. Tribulation cloud. Everyone in the courtyard was alarmed. Su Jin and the others flew into the sky and saw a small dark cloud hovering above the roof. Although the range wasn't very large, it contained a terrifying power. Because it wasn't a lightning tribulation, the tribulation cloud didn't lock onto anyone else. It was just above Sima Yue and the others. What's going on? Yuan Xiaojie flew over and asked. Rainbow and the others didn't think that they would attract such a terrifying lightning tribulation. They were stunned for a moment. Hearing Yuan Xiaojie and the others' words, they came back to their senses and replied, Big Brother is dissolving the contract for Uncle. Dissolving the contract? Those old fellows all cried out. This contract can be dispelled? Isn't this going against the will of the heavens? De Wei cried out. That's why this appeared. Su Jin looked at the tribulation cloud and said, Lightning tribulation of the heavens. This was much more powerful than the average lightning tribulation. Once this contract is established, the heavens and earth cannot go against it. How can he dispel the contract? Little Wei asked. Big Brother is a beast tamer master. He said that by going against the will of the beast taming method, he can dispel the contract. Rainbow said, He's a beast tamer master? Everyone present cried out. Each and every one of them had a face full of shock. The 10 great villains who had just rushed over after hearing the commotion almost fell from the sky. This guy was a beast tamer master? Did he have to be so scary? How many secrets did this guy have? They really wanted to dig them all out for him, so that he wouldn't scare them from time to time. Alchemist, Array Master, Beast Tamer Master, Doctor, Divine Devil Valley's Junior Valley Master, Su Jin's disciple, Feng Clan's young master's disciple. His relationship with the Tuoba clan wasn't shallow. He had a mind all by himself. Rainbow saw that they were so shocked. Only then did he know that they didn't know Yue's identity as a beast tamer master. If he said that, it would expose her identity. The old fellows of the Sky Heaven School were silent after their shock. Such a genius student didn't show off. Instead, she had been hiding. It had been a long time since they met such a student in the school. Since they met her, no matter what, they had to ensure her safety. Sima Yue felt the situation outside. She also knew that the lightning tribulation was eyeing them covetously. However, she didn't panic. She passed a message to Chongming and continued. Chongming received Sima Yue's instructions. He went forward and said to Big Wei and Little Wei, Yu would like to invite the 2 masters to set up more than one lightning defense array. She needs some time. Big Wei and Little Wei looked at each other and nodded. Okay. The 2 of them took out the array stones and observed the situation of the house. At the same time, they struck the array stones down. The array was activated. Sima Yue felt that the aura of the tribulation cloud had weakened. She was relieved. Today's matter was due to her negligence. She didn't consider the lightning tribulation because she didn't prepare in advance. However, it wasn't as if there was no solution. She just had to move the person into the spirit pagoda the moment the lightning tribulation fell. But now that there was someone helping her, she could avoid this. She used the taming beast art to find the contract symbol. She wrapped it up and cut off the connection between it and Lu Fei. Then, she guided it bit by bit towards Lu Fei's body. They had been in a deadlock for a long time. The contract symbol no longer had any resistance, and obediently followed her outside. Silver light overflowed from Lu Fei's brain. It became brighter and brighter. Then, the contract symbol slowly moved out from between his eyebrows. Pa-dash, the lightning tribulation struck the spell formation as soon as the runes moved outwards, scaring everyone in Qingcheng. Chapter 145. After settling the family matters, Sima Yue went to school. She had not graduated yet, and the principal knew that he had given her some time off. Seeing that the Sima family was on the right track, she went back to continue her studies. In fact, for the current her, there wasn't much she could learn here. But she didn't want to give up halfway. The Sima family also needed her attention, so she didn't plan to leave for the time being. When he returned to the dormitory, Wei Ziqi and the others had already gone to class. There was not a single person in the dormitory. Thinking back to the last time he was here, he was still a young master, who did not need to consider anything. The next time he was here, he had already become the head of the family. I'm sure no one has ever seen the head of the household come to school. After tidying up the house, it was already noon. Remembering that she hadn't eaten for a long time, she also wanted to thank everyone for their concern and help during this period of time. So she went to the kitchen to cook a few dishes. I knew it. Just by smelling this fragrance, I knew that Yue had returned. Fatty Chu's voice could be heard even before he arrived. His nose had always been very sensitive when it came to food. The four of them went to the kitchen and saw Sima Yue sitting at the table waiting for them. They walked over and sat down to eat. Have you settled the matter? Wei Ziqi asked. Everything is almost on track. The rest will need to be done slowly. Sima Yue said that the most important thing now was to tame the hundreds of spirit beasts. However, the spirit beasts had not arrived yet, so she did not have to rush. The speed at which your house was being built really blinded our eyes. We haven't gone out for a few days, and when we went out yesterday, we discovered that your house had already been built. Fatty Chu picked up a piece of meat and placed it in his mouth as he spoke. Let's not talk about you guys. Even I was shocked. Sima Yue said. I went into seclusion for a few days. When I came out, I saw that the flat ground had turned into a courtyard. It was horrifying. I didn't know that houses could be repaired so quickly. I heard that it was because there were many people working together. That's why it was so fast. Wei Ziqi said. This is also good. You've recruited so many new people, so you need a place to make arrangements. Yes. Sima Yue nodded and asked, how have you been? The academy is pretty much the same as before, but now when we walk in the academy, we often meet some girls who come looking for us. Extremely annoying. Wei Ziqi said. Why? Sima Yue blinked. Could it be that both of you are in love? Did someone confess to you? It's not that our peach blossoms have blossomed, it's your peach blossoms that have blossomed. No one has ever dared to shout at a tribulation cloud. No one has ever dared to go inside a tribulation cloud. Sima Yue flew into the tribulation cloud and saw that there were electric currents flowing everywhere, making sizzling sounds. Human, how dare you come here? The cloud spirit cursed, but its soft voice didn't have the slightest lethality. Little tribulation cloud, where are you? Sima Yue called out softly. She really looked like a wolf trying to coax a child. I'm going to hack you to death. The little tribulation cloud didn't come out and said angrily. Two huge lightning bolts struck towards Sima Yue. Other than her body feeling numb, she didn't feel anything else. Seems like my defense against lightning has increased after I was struck last time. Sima Yue thought proudly. The top-grade purple heavenly lightning in the lightning pool rolled its eyes. That was because it had become stronger. Otherwise, she would have been struck to death by such a terrifying heaven-defying lightning tribulation. Little tribulation cloud, we've met so many times and can be considered old friends. Come out and meet me. I have something nice to eat. Sima Yue didn't know what the top-grade purple heavenly lightning was thinking and continued to entice it. I'm not going to eat. A transparent palm-sized rabbit appeared on the tribulation cloud. It looked at Sima Yue with its red eyes and complained. Why was she so pitiful? No matter what, it couldn't hack her to death. Sima Yue didn't expect the cloud spirit of the tribulation cloud to look like this. How was this the lightning tribulation that controlled the heavenly punishment? It should be Meng Meng's pet. Little tribulation cloud, it's useless for you to look at me like this. Your lightning is useless against me. She giggled. It's not useless against you. If it wasn't for the top-grade purple heavenly lightning in your body, you would have been struck to death by me. I didn't expect it to grow so fast. Even the heaven-defying lightning tribulation can't do anything to it. The cloud spirit snorted. Even the top-grade purple heavenly lightning can grow? Sima Yue was a little surprised. Of course it can. Otherwise, how could you become more and more immune to lightning? The cloud spirit said. Then is it like you? Sima Yue asked. It's not as cute as me. The cloud spirit said narcissistically. I'm the cutest lightning tribulation. Sima Yue closed her eyes and sensed for a while. Indeed, she saw a small figure swimming in the lightning pool. The figure didn't seem to have taken shape yet. It was just a blurry shadow. That shadow felt Sima Yue's gaze and made a strange face at her. It seemed to be despising her for not realizing that it had been in her body for so long. Sima Yue felt that this fellow should be making a face at her, although she didn't have a face yet. Thinking about the process of her obtaining her own lightning, she asked the cloud spirit doubtfully, "Isn't this top-grade purple heavenly lightning yours? How did it take shape on its own? How can the top-grade purple heavenly lightning be mine? If it was mine, I would have swallowed it." The cloud spirit was a little disappointed. "I've used the top-grade purple heavenly lightning before, but no one survived. I guess it's because you didn't die and absorbed it that this fellow took shape. There should be a lot of people in charge of the tribulation cloud, right?" Sima Yue suddenly asked. "There aren't many. Anyway, this area is my territory. If anyone dares to disrespect me, I'll strike them to death," the cloud spirit said. Suddenly, it thought of the person in front of it. It didn't die even after striking her so many times. It was very discouraged. Sima Yue looked at it and smiled. "It's good that you didn't strike me to death. Look, you didn't strike me to death. Didn't I discover your existence? We can be friends in the future." "I don't want to be friends with you," the cloud spirit snorted. If it became friends with a person who couldn't be struck to death, how could it survive in the future? "If you don't want to be friends with me, then I'll be friends with you," Sima Yue said. "Since we're friends, then I have to treat you to good food. What do you think? What do you like?" She took out a bunch of things and put them on the tribulation cloud. They didn't fall down. The cloud spirit was very disdainful at first, but those things were very fragrant. Especially one kind of fragrance made it drool. She looked at those things arrogantly, then turned her head to the side and said, "What are these? I won't eat your things." Sima Yue saw that although she said no, her small eyes kept glancing at the wine jar. She secretly laughed. Chapter 737. She unsealed the wine jar, and an even richer fragrance wafted out. The little tribulation cloud tried to resist, but it still couldn't resist the temptation. It ran over, hugged the wine jar, and took a deep breath before asking, "What is this?" "Wine," the small tribulation cloud exclaimed and threw the wine jug away. The wine jug landed on the black cloud, and the wine spilled out. An even richer fragrance floated out. "No, I don't want this. Take it away." Sima Yue looked at its agitated face. It was fine before. Why did it have such a big reaction all of a sudden? "You don't like this?" she asked curiously. "I don't like it, I don't like it. This thing can't be touched," the little tribulation cloud said. "Why? Last time, there was an older brother who got some wine from somewhere and ended up getting drunk. He fainted for 3 years and was punished for delaying matters. In the end, he vanished into thin air." The little tribulation cloud continuously bit its head. What? There was actually such a thing? Sima Yue's mouth was slightly agape in shock. She saw that the little calamity cloud was avoiding it like a snake, but its eyes were filled with reluctance. She said, "This is fruit wine. It's not intoxicating. If you're really afraid of getting drunk, you can take one of these pills first. Then you won't get drunk at all." "What kind of pill is this?" The minor tribulation cloud had seen many pills before, but it had never seen anything like this. "This is a pill specially prepared for people who drink alcohol to sober up. As long as you eat this before drinking, you won't get drunk no matter how much you drink," Sima Yue explained. "Really?" The little tribulation cloud didn't believe it. "If I lie to you, you can strike me every day," Sima Yue said. She had concocted this pill for Third Mo, so that he could enjoy other fine wines without getting drunk. The small tribulation cloud tried to endure it, but it couldn't resist the fragrance of the wine, so it slowly moved closer. Sima Yue fed it a pill, and the little calamity cloud swallowed it. Then it tried to take a sip of wine. When it didn't feel any discomfort, it happily hugged the wine jar and drank. "What do you think? I didn't lie to you, right?" Sima Yue took out a jar of wine. N. Little calamity cloud nodded happily. Its dissatisfaction with Sima Yue had been resolved by this fine wine. Soon it finished the jar of wine. Perhaps it was because the alcohol content was too low, or because it had eaten the pill. but it didn't have any reaction at all. It's delicious. Do you have more? The little tribulation cloud hugged the empty wine jar and looked at her. Yes. Sima Yue took out another jar for it, and it finished it in no time. The more she drank, the more excited she became. After drinking 4 jars in a row, Sima Yue did not give her any more. Is there more? I haven't had enough yet. The little tribulation cloud urged. Little calamity cloud. Do you know that to us humans, this wine is not to be drunk casually? Sima Yue said solemnly. Then how can I drink it? The little tribulation cloud asked. We use this wine to entertain our friends. Sima Yue said. You wanted to strike me before. You big baddie. You used wine to threaten me. Although the little tribulation cloud was innocent, it wasn't stupid. The moment Sima Yue said that, it immediately reacted. That's right. I was threatening you. Sima Yue did not deny it. Then will you accept my threat? I'm a very unyielding tribulation cloud. I won't accept your threat. The little tribulation cloud turned its little head to the side and did not look at her. Really? Of course, the little tribulation cloud said with certainty. All right then. Sima Yue kept the jar of wine that she had just taken out, saying, Since you're such an unyielding tribulation cloud, then you definitely don't want to drink this wine. Sigh. I'll go back down and wait for you to strike me before leaving. With that, she stood up and looked like she was about to leave. Well, why you baddie? Big baddie. The little tribulation cloud immediately jumped up and rushed into Sima Yue's embrace. Instantly, several lightning bolts struck over. After the little tribulation cloud snatched the jar of wine, it continued to shout, You're too bad. Too bad. Baddie. Sima Yue stood on top of the tribulation cloud. The jar of wine in her embrace had been snatched away, and her body was numb from the lightning bolts. That little fellow was still there calling her a baddie. She suddenly wanted to ask, who exactly was the baddie? After the little tribulation cloud finished the jar of wine, the numb feeling finally passed. She moved her body and said, If you strike me to death, you won't be able to drink this wine anymore. The little tribulation cloud narrowed its eyes and thought for a moment. It seemed like it had struck her a little too hard just now. However, she had the top-grade purple lightning in her body. It couldn't strike her to death. At most, it could only strike her until she was half crippled. If you give me the wine and the pill to sober me up, I won't strike you today. Otherwise, I'll strike you with a few more lightning bolts. When Sima Yue heard this, she couldn't help but laugh. Wasn't she the one who was luring it? Why was it the other way around? However, no matter who was threatening who or lying to who, the result was the same. She gave it the wine, so it wouldn't strike her. Sima Yue took out several jars of fruit wine. The little tribulation cloud shook its short tail, and the tribulation cloud wrapped up all the wine. I can let you off today, but don't call me next time. The little tribulation cloud said. It's not that I'm scolding you, but can't you stop for a bit? You're the person I've struck the most times. You're also the person I struck the most. If not for the top-grade purple lightning, who knows how many times you'd have died. I didn't want to either. Sima Yue said. No matter which time it was, she wasn't the one who wanted to be struck. Wasn't there always a reason for it? Haha. The next time I see you, even if there's so much wine, I won't go easy on you. The little tribulation cloud once again became that stubborn little tribulation cloud. We're already friends. Friends should help each other, understand? Sima Yue said. Haha. The little tribulation cloud snorted twice. It didn't confirm or deny. Alright, I'm going back. Don't strike me again. I've been feeling a little scared when I see you recently. Sima Yue said. I don't want to see you either. The little tribulation cloud said. Although the two of us are doing that now, I can't completely go easy on you. The lightning bolts at the back still have to strike, but I can control it to make it less powerful. Sima Yue thought that it wasn't a bad idea. She nodded her head and flew down. When she returned to the roof, the tribulation cloud struck a few more times. Then it patted its butt and left. As for those few strikes, other than eating the top-grade purple lightning in the lightning pool as snacks, it didn't do much harm to her. Yue, what did you do in the tribulation cloud? Isn't the lightning tribulation getting stronger the further it goes? Why do I feel that the last few strikes aren't as strong as the first? Fatty Chu asked what everyone was thinking. Chapter 738. The following is provided for you, 738. Please enjoy. Sima Yue blinked her eyes innocently and asked, Really? You must have seen wrongly. I saw wrongly? How is that possible? Fatty Chu was not stupid. How could he not be able to tell? Sima Yue ignored him and ate the pill, saying, I still need to check on Uncle Caihong's condition. Are you guys still going to stay here? Cough cough, let's go take a look too. Yuan Xiaojie said. They had never seen a spirit beast breaking a contract with its master before. Yue could not reject the dean's request. The dean can come, the rest of you don't have to go, it's too crowded. She returned to the house after speaking. Lu Fei was still waiting for her downstairs. Just as she said, breaking a contract was very harmful to the body. If she had not persuaded the tribulation cloud away, he would not have been able to withstand it. Seeing Sima Yue enter, Lu Fei raised his head with difficulty and said weakly, Thank you. Thank you for breaking the contract for me. Thank you for helping me withstand the tribulation cloud. I did it for Caihong. Sima Yue said. She asked Chong Ming to help him up, then helped him to the bed in the house to sleep. She had poked a hole in the hall, and now he could see the sky when he raised his head. Sima Yue walked over and fed him a pill, saying, If you return to your original form, it will help with your injuries. Lu Fei nodded, and with a flash of white light, the handsome young man turned into a dispirited little bird. When Yuan Xiaojie and the rest saw Lu Fei, they really believed that Sima Yue had broken his contract. Seeing that Sima Yue was going to treat his injuries, they left together. Sima Yue waited for them to leave, then took out the soul fluid and fed it to Lu Fei. After eating this pill and drinking this, you will sleep well for 10 days to half a month. When you wake up, although you will not fully recover, you will still be able to move. It's just that your powers were slightly damaged, but you'll recover in 2 years. Sima Yue said. Lu Fei felt that his eyelids were getting heavier and heavier, and his consciousness was getting fainter and fainter. Soon he fell into a deep sleep. Grandmother Zhu came in from outside and saw that Lu Fei was already asleep. She asked, How is the king? I've already fallen asleep after eating the pill that Big Brother gave me. Big Brother said that I'll be fine after sleeping for 10 days to half a month. Rainbow said. King. Sima Yue heard Grandmother Zhu call Lu Fei and looked at Rainbow in surprise. Uncle is the king of the Bayan clan, don't you know? Rainbow asked. Sima Yue shook her head and said, You didn't tell me, and I didn't hear you call him that. The king of the Swanee clan was actually contracted by a human. No wonder he was in so much pain. Every race had their own pride, especially the royal races. The Swanee race was more arrogant than the average race. As the Swanee king, Lu Fei's pride went without saying. She gave Rainbow a bottle of soul fluid and said, This is what you ate when you were young. Feed him 3 drops every 5 days. No more than that. Rainbow took the soul fluid and nodded. Thank you, Big Brother. You should recuperate well too. You've been struck so many times today, you must be injured. Rainbow said. Sima Yue was indeed feeling a little unwell. After giving Rainbow the soul fluid, she went out. Feng Yi and Feng Er were waiting for her outside. When they saw her come out, they asked, Young master, how are you? I'm fine. This lightning tribulation is the thing that I'm least afraid of now. Sima Yue said. But this time I was struck a little too hard. It still hurts a little. Sigh, I'll be fine after some rest. The reason why Feng 1 and Feng 2 were chosen to protect her was naturally because they had always been steady, meticulous, and strong. But even they were speechless when they saw her like this. Young master, you're really funny. You're still jumping around after being struck by lightning. You even said that it hurts a little, and you'll be fine after some rest. I wonder if those people who were struck to death by lightning in the dark forest will crawl back up to take revenge on you. The 10 great evils went back with complicated feelings. These few days, she gave them too much of a shock. They felt that she had really given them a lot of face by coming to find them. Big brother, maybe if we follow this kind of person, we can really have a different future. Shurchen said faintly. Fengji nodded. He didn't say anything, but his thoughts were the same. I really want to discuss a raise with him, Hongwu said. I want to ask him about alchemy, Kong Ren said. He really is a strange person, Feng Kai said. So you're saying that everyone agrees? Feng Ji asked. Seeing everyone nod, he asked again. But what he means is that he wants us to acknowledge him as our master. For someone like him, if we really acknowledge him as our master, there shouldn't be any problems. I see that he treats the people around him very well. Dai thought better of it. I think that in the future, he will stand at a height that will make people feel proud to acknowledge him as their master. Shurchen said as he coughed. Maybe, I won't be able to see that day. Third brother, don't let your imagination run wild. The pill he gave you made your condition really good for these 3 months. He said it so confidently before. I think he can definitely cure you. Ni said. Shurchen coughed for a while before stopping. Third brother, you haven't coughed recently. Why are you coughing again today? Let me take a look. Kong Ren walked over and grabbed his hand to check. 10th brother, how is third brother? Yusi asked. Third brother's condition has worsened. Kong Ren said. Originally, the effect of this pill was 3 months. However, third brother used too much spirit energy in the dark forest and accelerated the deterioration of his condition. Last time in the dark forest, they were chased by many people before they reached the center. There were a few times when Shurchen even made a move. There was one time when the situation was especially dangerous. In order to save Nie and Kong Run who were surrounded, he did use a more difficult move. Then what do we do now? Nie also thought about how Shurchen saved him. He felt extremely guilty, and his face was almost twisted into a ball. Even if you ask me, I don't know, Kong Ren said. Maybe we can only go look for him. Since we've already decided to follow him, let's go look for him. He should be able to treat third brother, Hongwu said. We can't find any other doctors now. Although that Su Jin is here, it's good that he didn't kill us when he saw us. We can't expect him to treat third brother. We can only go look for him. Let's go now. Nie supported Shurchen and was about to go look for Sima Yue. 6th brother, don't be anxious. Shurchen pulled him back. She just went through the lightning tribulation today and is still injured. It's no use even if you go look for her. I won't die in a day or two. Let's go in a few days. I love my academy. Actively cooperate with the special action to combat obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Thank you everyone. Sima Yue was not surprised when she heard the news. She knew very well what kind of people those forces were. They never felt that these things were their own fault. It was all someone else's fault. When they said that she killed their masters, they didn't think that they were the ones who sent people to snatch little Tu and kill her first. In modern terms, they were a bunch of old weirdos, the best of the best. She warned Fatty and the others, then brought Shiman Feng, Feng 1 and Feng 2 out. Yusi and the others were discussing matters in the hall when they heard a knock on the door. Nie said, could it be that Sima Yue is here? It can't be. Didn't she just get struck by lightning 2 days ago? Dai was uncertain. Could it be the people who are hunting us down? Kong Ren said. Are there such polite hunters? Feng Kai said. 6th brother, open the door. Oh. Nie stood up and opened the door. When he saw Sima Yue and the others standing outside, his face flashed with joy. It's really you guys. Why, were you waiting for us? Sima Yue asked. Yes. Please come in, everyone is in the hall. Nie opened the door and let them in. Sima Yue went to the hall. When she was still in the courtyard, Feng Ji and the others came out. They cupped their hands and bowed to her, saying, please. Sima Yue went in and sat on the main seat with Shiman Feng. When she saw Feng Ji and the others looking at Feng 1 and Feng 2, she smiled and explained, they are the guards my master Feng gave me. They are now my people. You really need some experts by your side now. Shurchen said. Sima Yue looked at him and frowned slightly, saying, "There's still so much time before the 3-month deadline. Why did you relapse?" Third brother used his spirit energy in the dark forest, so his condition worsened. Anione explained. "You can use your spirit energy after eating the pill I gave you." Sima Yue said, "Let me check you first." She walked over, and Yusi gave her a seat. After she sat down, she checked his pulse. "How is my third brother?" Yusi asked. Sima Yue's face darkened. She did not answer Yusi's question, and only stared at Shurchen. Cough cough. Shurchen, who was always steady and wise, felt guilty under her stare. "Yue, say something. How is third brother?" Dai Yi's temper was more impatient. Seeing that she did not speak, he urged her. "What else can he do?" Sima Yue retracted her hand, saying, "If he doesn't want to live, I can't save him." "Doesn't want to live?" Anione shouted. "Why would third brother not want to live? You can't treat him?" Kong Ren asked anxiously. Sima Yue looked at the few people who were about to go crazy inside, saying, "I didn't say that he wanted to die. Why are you guys so anxious? Then if you say that third brother wants to die, you can't do anything about it." Anione said, "Because he's looking for death." Sima Yue said, "He ate the pill, so there's no problem with using his spiritual energy. But he hasn't been completely cured yet. Yet he dared to use all of his spiritual energy. If this isn't looking for death, what is? Completely used up. Third brother, how could you? I can't just watch something happen to you and 10th brother. If it's true, then it's my fate." Anione and Kong Ren's eyes turned red. Sima Yue did not need to look to know what was going on. She thought that this guy was quite sentimental. "What fate? With me here. Even if it's your fate, I can change it for you," she said confidently. Everyone present was shocked by her words. Thinking about how she could say such harsh words to the lightning tribulation, there was nothing special about what she said. "So you're saying that third brother can still be saved?" Anione asked happily. "Nonsense." Sima Yue glared at him. He doubted her medical skills. She would deal with him later. She called Little Roar out. Once Little Roar was outside, he shook his head coquettishly and said, "Yu, did you call me out because you missed me?" Sima Yue laughed sinisterly. "That's right, I missed you. There's something I need your help with." Little Roar saw her smile, and a bad premonition arose in his heart. "I love my academy. Actively cooperate with the campaign to combat obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Thank you, everyone." Chapter 740. The following is provided for you. 740. Please enjoy. No. Not waiting for Sima Yue to finish her sentence, Little Roar scampered away. However, before he could run 2 centimeters, he was caught by Sima Yue. No, you're a bad person." Little Roar struggled in Sima Yue's hands. His 4 short legs kept waving in the air, looking very comical. "Feng save me. Yu wants to trick me." Sima Yue used her other hand to flick his head, saying, "Yes, I want to trick you. What do you want?" "Yu, if you trick me, I'll go on a hunger strike." Little Roar thought for a long time before coming up with this threat. Sima Yue laughed even more happily. "All right, if you want to go on a hunger strike, I'll support you with both hands. Anyway, you're already so fat." Shimin Feng, who was at the side, laughed out loud. Using hunger strike to threaten his sister. How did he think of this? Little Roar looked at her with teary eyes and complained, You're bullying me." "You wanted to say it yourself. I didn't force you." Sima Yue said innocently. I don't care. You're bullying me." Little Roar cried. "All right, I haven't even said anything yet, and you already have such a big reaction." Sima Yue said. "Looking at you, I can tell that you're up to no good." Little Roar said. Sima Yue pursed her lips. This brat, did he need to know her so well? "Actually, it's nothing big. I just want you to contribute a bowl of blood." She smiled as she said. Little Roar's 4 limbs retracted, and his entire body turned into a round ball. He looked as if he had not wronged her and roared. Look. I told you, you're definitely up to no good. You actually want to take my blood. You're too bad." Sima Yue was getting a headache from its crying. She shouted, "If you cry again, I won't give you anything to eat for a month." Little Roar was stunned by her roar. When he thought about how she wanted him to bleed, but did not allow him to howl, he felt so wrong that he wanted to cry out loud again. "If you behave, I'll cook for you," Sima Yue added. Little Roar's anguished wail was immediately suppressed. Then he used an extremely aggrieved voice to say, "Only for me. It's going to take a month." "Half a month," Sima Yue said, "or not even a day." Little Roar stared and stared again. Seeing that Sima Yue was no longer attracted by his cute gaze, he had no choice but to agree. He reluctantly said, "All right then, half a month it is. Don't go back on your word." "When did I go back on my word? It's just that we haven't talked about it for half a month. We'll count them separately," Sima Yue said unscrupulously. You're so treacherous," Little Roar protested. "Or you don't want even a day." When Sima Yue said that, Little Roar still compromised. However, his little eyes were filled with grievance. Cough cough. Feng Kai pretended to cough, interrupting the man and beast's threats. "Young Master Sima, what are you doing? You guys can just call me Yue." Sima Yue was not used to people calling her young master. She said, "Shi Chen's condition is much worse than expected. Normal medicine won't be of much use to him anymore. We have to control the cold air in his body in order to carry out further treatment. Now, only the blood of an auspicious beast can be both hot and gentle. So aren't I making blood? It's an auspicious beast?" Nie and the rest looked at Little Roar with their mouths wide open, their eyes filled with suspicion. Was there such an auspicious beast? "What's wrong? What's wrong? Can't I be an auspicious beast?" Little Roar roared at them unhappily. "If you guys think that I'm not an auspicious beast, then I won't donate blood." No, of course you're an auspicious beast." Nie quickly smiled apologetically. If they angered this guy, and he really didn't donate blood, then they would cry to death. Sima Yue took out a big bowl and said, "All right, let the blood out." Little Roar looked at the big bowl Sima Yue placed on the table, and his eyes widened. You're taking out such a big bowl. This isn't for blood, it's for me, right?" he protested. "Don't talk so much nonsense." Sima Yue grabbed him and hung him above the big bowl. Is this really for letting blood out? Could it be that you took the wrong bowl?" Little Roar still didn't believe her. Didn't she take the wrong bowl the last time she let Tuobahan's blood out? Could it be that she took the wrong bowl this time too? "That's right, hurry up and let it out. If you continue to blabber, I'll teach you a lesson," Sima Yue threatened. "You only know how to threaten me." Little Roar glared at her, feeling wronged, but he still obediently cut open his claws and let the blood flow into the big bowl. Nie and the rest saw that his blood kept flowing out, and the volume soon exceeded his size. They didn't know if he would drown if they let him down. "Is it still not enough? If you let me out again, I won't have any more blood." After half a bowl, Little Roar looked pitifully at Sima Yue, Shi Chen, and the rest couldn't bear to see him like this. "It's not enough, continue. Fill it up." Sima Yue was unmoved and said. Others didn't know, but she knew that this little bit of blood was nothing to Little Roar. She wouldn't be fooled by his eyes. Little Roar sighed and continued to let out blood. After filling the bowl completely, Sima Yue stopped him and threw him into Shiman Feng's arms. "Smelly you. You don't want me anymore after letting me out," Little Roar said in Shiman Feng's arms. "I'll make it up to you later," Sima Yue said, and took out a measuring cup. She scooped a cup and handed it to Shi Chen, saying, "Drink it." Shi Chen took the measuring cup and drank the blood in a few mouthfuls. Chapter 741. If you can cure third brother, we are willing to follow you, Feng Ji said. She didn't threaten them with Shi Chen's life right away. Instead, she waited until his condition stabilized before telling them about this matter. This made them feel very comfortable. "Okay," Sima Yue nodded. 7 bottles of blood will ease your pain for 7 days. I'll come back in 7 days. This is Feng my younger brother. He will be the sect master of our sect in the future. Aren't you the sect master?" Feng Kai asked. I'm lazy. I don't like to take care of so many things, Sima Yue said. I am only on the surface, the real sect master is her. Shimin Feng explained. Do you have any objections? Sima Yue asked. Feng Ji shook his head. Originally, he was a little unhappy because the person they wanted to follow was her, and not her younger brother. However, as long as the real sect master was her, they naturally had no objections. I'll be back in 7 days. Sima Yue said. Remember, you can't let him do anything in these 7 days. He can't cultivate or use spirit energy. If you think he can't do it, then just knock him out and throw him aside. The corner of Shi Chen's mouth twitched. His credibility shouldn't be that low, right? Nie and Kong Ren looked at him thoughtfully, as if they were really considering Sima Yue's suggestion. I won't use my spiritual energy. You don't have to look at me like that. He glared at the two of them. I think it's better to knock him out to prevent any accidents. You see, agreed. It's actually good for his body to faint. If you guys agree, it's better to make him faint. Sima Yue threw a pill to Feng Ji. Feng, let's do it. Shimin Feng carried Little Roar and left. Once they left, Feng Ji let Shi Chen eat the pill. This isn't to make you faint, but just in case. Feng Ji said. Big brother. Shi Chen looked at his brother helplessly. For you it's just a nap. When you wake up your body will be completely healed. Third brother, eat it. Feng Kai also said. Third brother, we will feed you the auspicious beast blood on time every day. Several younger brothers also looked at him eagerly. All right then. In order to reassure you. Shi Chen took the pill and swallowed it. Soon he felt a little drowsy. He went back to his room and fell asleep. Nie helped Shi Chen back to sleep, while the others stayed in the hall to discuss what happened today. Kong Ren took a bottle of blood and smelled it, saying, This auspicious beast is gentler than the others. I think it's a bit funny. Dai said. Who has ever seen a contractor and a contracted beast get along like this? Everyone couldn't help but laugh when they recalled how they had threatened each other earlier. They really didn't look like master and servant, but more like family. Big brother, if she really cures third brother, our future days will change. Hongwu said. All these years, I've been living a life of being chased and on the run. If I can really stand in front of a crowd in the future, I don't know if I can get used to it. Tao Hongxing said. Our future life might be even more exciting. Yu Si said. I'm afraid it won't be that easy. Feng Kai didn't agree with their words. To establish a sect and grow to the point where other sects won't dare to bully us, I don't know how long it will take. There's always hope, Kong Ren said. And I feel that with her around this day won't be too far away. 10th brother is right. This is always something to look forward to, Hongwu said. I'm really looking forward to it, Tao Hongxing said faintly. After Sima Yue went back, she first made a delicious meal for Little Roar. Only then did the little guy's sad eyes disappear. Yu, I lost so much blood today. You have to make me something to eat to replenish my blood. Little Roar finished eating the beggar's chicken in his hand and requested. People eat eggs when they bleed. You've already eaten a chicken, and still haven't replenished enough. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. I lost so much blood. How can a chicken make up for it? Little Roar flew to Sima Yue's side and grabbed her sleeves to act spoiled. Your oil is all on my clothes. Sima Yue looked at the oil stains on her clothes with disdain, but she didn't throw him away. Yu. Not only did Little Roar wipe the oil off his claws, he even used his head to rub other places. The oil stains on the side of his mouth were also on it. Sima Yue poked his head and said, Say it. What else do you want to eat? Roasted little birds. Little Roar said without hesitation. Sima Yue's mouth twitched. Wasn't this a threat that they used to constantly say? No little birds. She rejected. We got so many little birds that time. We haven't finished eating them. I want to eat that. Little Roar said. Sima Yue then remembered that when she had just arrived in the primordial lands and fought with the goshawks, she had indeed collected many goshawk corpses. With Little Spirit's special preservation method, the things were still the same as when they were first thrown away. It was much better than the refrigerator on Earth. Since Little Roar wanted to eat, she went to get a wing to roast. Therefore, when someone came to the courtyard, they would see a huge plate. In a small corner, a small meatball was gnawing on a roasted wing that was much bigger than its body. Its little tail would move from time to time, and its entire body seemed to want to drill into the wing. Sima Yue didn't bother about it after she finished roasting it. She entered the house and entered the spirit pagoda. Previously, Su Jin and the rest were all here, so she didn't have the chance to enter. Now that she was here, the first thing she did was to look at Little Seven. A faint mist enveloped Little Seven. Little Seven had transformed into its original form and was hibernating. Its body was slowly changing in the mist. This thing is here. Those spirit herbs are growing better. Little Spirit appeared and said, although I had some guesses before, I didn't think that it would be like this. She really is. Sima Yue sighed. If Little Seven really stayed by her side in the future, she was afraid that she would have to worry a lot. No wonder Yuan Xiaojia and the rest wanted to lock her up in the inner courtyard and not let her out. If people knew about her identity, the entire continent would tremble, and the sky would change color. Then what do you plan to do? Little Spirit asked. His face had a different seriousness than before. She said that by staying by my side, she felt that there was a chance for her to evolve. Maybe after this evolution she will leave. Sima Yue said. She didn't know how to deal with it. She would just take one step at a time. These few days, help me pay attention to the situation outside. I need to go into closed-door cultivation to refine pills for Shi Chun. If there's nothing urgent, don't call me. After she finished speaking, she went into the pill refining room. Chapter 742. A few moments later, Sima Yue came out of the spirit pagoda. The first thing she saw was Rainbow chatting happily with Rainbow. Brother, you're out. Kaihong smiled and waved at Sima Yue. Sima Yue walked over and asked, what are you guys talking about? You look so happy. We were talking about Little Roar. Rainbow said, you don't know this, but these few days when you weren't around, Little Roar kept running outside to take liberties with other people. He was ruthlessly taught a lesson. It went out to play rogue again. Sima Yue regretted not bringing Sima Yue into the spirit pagoda when she was not around. It didn't go looking for anyone else. It only went to Feng Ji's side and flirted with their brothers, showing that Ni and the others wanted to beat it up when they saw it. Chongming said. Sima Yue heaved a sigh of relief. It was good that she did not go out to provoke others. In her mind, Feng Ji and the others were already her people. It was fine for Little Roar to tease them. Yu Sanyang came to look for you before. I told her that you were in seclusion. She asked you to look for her after you came out. Chongming said. Got it. Is there anything else for the next few days? She asked. It's nothing. However, the number of people coming to Qingqing has increased recently. You came to kill me. No, they are here for Feng Ji and the others. Chongming said. The news of the 10 great villains being here has spread, and those who have a grudge against them have all chased after them. How are they doing now? Sima Yue was shocked. A few were injured, but they are not serious. Halcyon said. What about Shi Chun? How is he? He fainted on the day you went there. He didn't wake up from the beginning to the end, nor did he participate in the battle. Chongming said. Yesterday, Ni was still saying that it was lucky that you let them knock him out. Otherwise, with his character, he definitely wouldn't stand by and do nothing. I thought of this possibility at the time, and that's why I made them do it. Sima Yue said. They definitely can't stay in the courtyard from before. Where are they now? At Sanyang's place. At Sanyang's place? Sanyang came to find me because of this? No. Sanyang came to find you on the second day of your seclusion. Feng, and the others only then did they move in. Halcyon said. But don't worry, Yulin and Hongwu set up an array together. Those people haven't entered Third Aunt's house yet. Is Sanyang's array master? Yes. Then let's go take a look at their situation. Sima Yue said as she walked towards the door. They dug a tunnel. Halcyon said. Although it was dug it's of UUUSA, it's at that time. It She walked for a while and arrived at Sanyang's house. Sanyang's courtyard was right outside. You're here? Little Wu, who had sensed the commotion, came out to see what was going on. When she saw Sima Yu, she smiled and greeted her. Everyone in the house heard Xiao Wu call her name and came out. Yue, you're finally out. Aniane said. Sima Yue saw that Aniane was injured and said, Didn't you say it was a small injury? Why do you look so serious? In order to attract the attention of those people, we went to the place where we used to live. Aniane said. Yue. Sanyang Du came out from another house. Sanyang. Sima Yue walked over and said apologetically, I've caused you trouble. It's no trouble, it's just closing the shop. Sanyang Du said. Even without this incident, my shop won't be open for more than 2 days. Since she planned to follow Sima Yue and build up her power, she naturally wouldn't continue to stay in this small Qing city. Sima Yue also understood this and didn't continue talking about it. Instead she asked, Where's Shi Chun? He's in the house. Aniane said, Luckily you let him sleep, otherwise he wouldn't be able to use spiritual energy these few days. I'll go take a look. Sima Yue went in and saw Shi Chun lying on the bed. She first checked his pulse and made sure he was fine before giving him a pill. Soon, Shi Chun's eyes moved and his eyelids slowly opened. His gaze was still a little dazed. When he saw Sima Yue and Aniane at the side, he slowly regained consciousness. Sixth brother, you're injured? What happened? He asked. It's nothing. You see said. You're all injured, how can you be fine? Shi Chun didn't believe him and struggled to get up. Even if something happened, it has nothing to do with you now. Sima Yue glared at him and said, What you need to do now is to quickly recover from your injuries. Otherwise, no matter what happens, you can only be their burden. Shi Chun wanted to refute, but found that he had no strength to. You're my people now. With me here, what can happen to them? Sima Yue said, Here, this is a pill. Eat it, and you'll be able to be with them in 2 ***************. Shi Chun took the pill and looked at the longan-sized pill in his hand. He couldn't believe it. After eating it, the cold that had trapped him for so many years would really be cured? Don't underestimate this. It's not an exaggeration to say that this pill is worth 100 million middle-grade crystals. Sima Yue said, Plus the blood of the auspicious beast that you drank these few days. Do you think your injuries are easy to heal? I'm not doubting it. It's just that at this moment, I feel like I'm in a dream. Shi Chun said. You'll know in a while whether you're dreaming or not. Sima Yue smiled unkindly. Why? Aniane asked. Because the process will make him hover between life and death and pain. With such pain, how can he still feel like he's in a dream? Sima Yue said. Is it that painful? Dai felt sorry for Shi Chun. He didn't know if he could endure it. Burning with fire, freezing his body, deep water fire, scraping his bones and pulling out his tendons. Do you think it's painful? Sima Yue asked. Her words gave Aniane and the rest a big fright. They quickly asked, Is there a way to relieve it? Relieve? Sima Yue glanced at Aniane's arm that was hanging and nodded. There is a way to relieve it. What way? Tell me quickly. Aniane was energized when he heard that there was a way. This method is very simple. When he's in pain, put your arm in his mouth and let him bite you. His pain will naturally be relieved. Sima Yue said very seriously. Sima Yue let go of her and sat down beside her, saying, This matter isn't urgent. It needs to be planned slowly. When Shi Chun's condition is better, and the few of them can be of use to me, we'll discuss this matter together. However, leaving is just a matter of these 2 days. It's not suitable for planning this now that it's so messy here. Then I'll pack these 2 days. Although there aren't many things here, we still need to pack everything. Third Aunt Du said as she was about to get up. You can pack later. Shi Chun needs 2 days to recover. Sima Yue pulled her and said, Let's talk first. Third Aunt Du saw Sima Yue relying on her and smiled, saying, What do you want to talk about? Do you want to tell me about your embarrassing past? Or do you want to talk about the man you like? Speaking of the man she liked, the first person Sima Yue thought of was Mo Shah. Ever since that guy brought her out of the chaotic world, he had never woken up. Third aunt is laughing at me. How could I have a man I like? She smiled. You really don't have one? Third aunt Du looked at her with understanding. Sima Yue shook her head. Third aunt knows about the past life. This life isn't long and I've been busy cultivating. How could there be anyone? Third aunt Du thought of what Fatty Chu and the others said about her cultivation in this life. Thinking of how much she had suffered, her heart ached. She held her hand and said, It's been hard on you. It's not hard. Sima Yue smiled. Although it seems like I'm a little miserable every time, I've gained a lot. Compared to what I've gained, what's a little injury? Good child. Third aunt Du saw that she was so open-minded, and kept her heartache in her heart. Third aunt, you know a lot of things in the past. What do you think about establishing power? I've actually only heard your third uncle talk about some. Sima Yue and Third Aunt Du chatted in the room for a long time, until Third Aunt Du had to pack up. After she left, she returned to the place where she lived and told Fatty Chu and the others that they were leaving. Everyone's things had always been in their interspatial rings, and didn't need to pack up. So the group of people followed to Third Aunt's courtyard. Third Aunt Du's courtyard wasn't big. Now that everyone had come, it was a little crowded. Fortunately, everyone was sitting and waiting in the courtyard. Although it was crowded, it wasn't hard to turn around. Sima Yue and Sima Yulin set up a teleportation array in the courtyard when Shirchun was healing. When he finished, they left. There were a lot of people wandering in front of Third Aunt's shop these 2 days. Some people even attacked the protective array. It seemed that they were impatient. After the teleportation array was ready, Sima Yue let Wei Ziqi and the others leave first. Wei Ziqi, Sima Yuming and the others, plus the 5 Feng family guards left. The small courtyard immediately became empty. The people guarding outside the small courtyard saw the light in the courtyard and shouted, Is that the light of the teleportation array? Those people have left. I heard that there is an array master among them. Maybe he set up the array. Someone said, No, there are still people inside. They probably haven't left yet. Everyone attack quickly. You must not let them escape. Yes, everyone attack quickly. You must not let them escape. Once they escape today, it will be difficult to find their whereabouts in the future. When the people outside heard, they all attacked the protective array. The protective array became unstable for a while. Feng Kai and the others started attacking from the outside and ran out of the house. These people are really haunting. Fourth brother, fifth brother, let's go and meet them. Feng Kai's face was fierce. After speaking, he flew out to fight with those people. Why bother with them? Sima Yue said, Let them jump around. They can't enter here anyway. This array is about to be broken by them. If they come in and distract third brother, Yusi said anxiously. Chapter 744. Yusi was very anxious, but after being glanced at by Sima Yue, he miraculously calmed down. Mobile phone station dash. This is an array set up by Yulin and Yu Hongwu. I don't know how good Hongwu is, but I know Yulin very well. Sima Yue said. They're underestimating him if they think they can break through his array with just these few people. But this array formation looks really fragile. Even if you're weak, you can still hold on until your third brother is done. If you guys get injured outside, I'll be the one to suffer. Sima Yue waved at them. Come back. Feng Ji came out and stood at the door saying, Even if you really can't hold on, can you still be stronger than them? Feng Kai also knew that the people around Sima Yue were more powerful than them. If something really happened, they would be able to solve it without needing to do anything. It was just that they used to rely on themselves for everything. Now that they suddenly had someone to rely on, they weren't used to it yet. Since Big Brother and Yue have said so, let's go back. And Ayani said, Okay. Feng Kai glanced at Sima Yue and did not insist on going out. Sima Yulin walked around and looked at the array. After confirming that there were no problems, he came back to set up the second teleportation array with Sima Yu. What they had set up was a one-time use array. Unless the array was extremely powerful, no one would know where they had gone. After sending away half of the people, the array formation could no longer be used. Shurchun was in the house. His skin was alternating between red and white. His teeth were biting on a towel, and his veins were protruding. Large beads of sweat kept dripping down, and his clothes were all drenched in sweat. Kong Run and the others watched from the side, their expressions extremely solemn. Seeing Feng Kai and the others return, they were a little surprised and asked, "The situation outside?" "I'm fine. With them here, we don't have to worry about the situation outside," Feng Kai said. The two brothers had been together for so many years, so they naturally understood what he meant. They both had the same thought in their hearts. But because they were worried about Shurchun's situation, no one said anything. Ugh! Shurchun was torn apart by a wave of pain. He raised his head and bit the towel tightly, looking very uncomfortable. "Third brother, how much longer are you going to persist like this?" Tao Hongxing asked. "Soon," Hong Wu said. Yue said that it would take 2 days. More than half of it has already passed. Just hold on for a few more hours. If third brother's body can get better after this pain, it'll be worth it. Dai Yi said. "I hope third brother can really get better. He has been tormented by this illness for too many years." Yu Si said. In fact, they could all feel that Shurchun really didn't want to live in the past. It was only because he felt that they had ended up like this, because of him, that he would be letting them down if he ended his life so easily. That was why he reluctantly persevered. He was actually the most intelligent of the brothers, and if he could get better, then his life would be very exciting. Shurchun tightened his grip on the towel, his eyes revealing his unwillingness to admit defeat. Although the pain made him want to commit suicide, he knew that as long as he could get through this, he would be able to live like a normal person. Did everyone want to die? No, no one wanted to die. No one wanted to die. They all wanted to live. He was no exception. Previously, he had been waiting for death because he knew that his condition wasn't good. There was no chance of survival, and he was tortured by the illness all day long. Since there was hope now, he would want to hold on tightly to it. Fortunately, although the process was painful, he felt his body getting warmer and warmer. His body's vitality was recovering from the pain. The feeling of regaining strength was too good. Just like that, the day passed amidst the bombardment outside, Yue's calmness, and the worries in the house. Third Aunt Du packed up her things. Sima Yue entered the house and saw that Shurchun had already completed the painful process. She checked his pulse and nodded as she treated him. Finally, she said, "Your condition is good. It's basically cleaned up. It's just that your body has been weak for so many years. You still need to recuperate." "Thank you very much." He was sincerely grateful to her. Towards the end, he could feel the effects of that pill. He had eaten many pills before, so the effects of this pill were definitely worth the price she had quoted. Sima Yue took out a bottle of pills and said, "Take 1 pill every 10 days. It can adjust your current body. I hope that the next time we meet, you will have recovered." "You're leaving?" Shurchun was shocked. "No, not now. But we will be separated later on," Sima Yue said. They hadn't discussed the establishment of a force yet. How could she leave first? "Take a rest. We will leave in a while." She stood up. "The people outside can't wait to come in." Shurchun ate a pill, and his weak body felt a lot better. Although his body was still weak, he felt a vigorous vitality flowing in his body, which made him very excited. They quickly packed up everything. Sima Yue even asked Third Aunt Du to pack up the bed, table and other furniture. She said that they might have to sleep in the wild. With these furniture, it would be more convenient when camping. Everyone stood on the teleportation array. Sima Yulin activated the teleportation array. The teleportation array opened and teleported them away. The array stone exploded into ashes not long after they left, and was blown away by the wind. As for the people attacking from the outside, they only managed to break through the defense array after they left. By the time they came in, there was only an empty and cold wind in the courtyard. In the depths of the dark forest, Sima Yue and the others came out from the spatial tunnel. You're here. Fatty Chu and the others were playing with a group of flamingos. When they saw them, they smiled and greeted them. You're at ease here. Sima Yue walked over and slapped him on the head. Who asked you to send us here? Fatty Chu said. I thought you would send us to a nearby city. In the end, you sent us here. The nearby cities have been too eye-catching recently. Sima Yue said. We have to lie low for a while. How long do we have to stay here? Not long. Sima Yue said, and then asked the flamingos, where is your king? As soon as Sima Yue's voice fell, the flamingo's king's voice came from a distance. Greetings, young master. Sima Yue looked over. The flamingo's king flapped his wings and flew over quickly. Sima Yue and the others followed. She guessed that they were together. The flamingo's king flew over and turned into a human form. He saluted Sima Yue and said, Greetings, young master. Fifth brother, you're here. Sima Yue and the others came down from the flying beast. Sima Yue nodded to them and asked the flamingo's king, Do you know where Bright Red Mountain Peak is? Chapter 745. The following is provided for you. 745. Please enjoy. When Flamingo King heard the name of Red Mountain Peak, his face changed, and he subconsciously trembled. Young master wants to go to Red Mountain Peak? Sima Yue nodded. Investigating the recent strange happenings at Bright Red Mountain Peak was their third mission. Young master, it's better not to go. Flamingo King advised. Why? Fatty Chu asked. Because that place has become very strange and dangerous. Flamingo King said. We just want to see what happened there. Sima Yue said. Investigate the strange things there, and then go back to complete the mission. Can't we push it? Flamingo King said. After he finished speaking, he realized that it was not good for him to say so and explained. Red Mountain Peak is quite far from here. We have never heard of it before. But recently, I'm afraid that no one in Central State does not know about it. You know about the strange things there? Sima Yue asked curiously. I have seen it with my own eyes. Flamingo King said. A few months ago, when I was traveling outside, I happened to go to a ridge adjacent to Red Mountain Peak. I saw with my own eyes a group of people who knew about the strange things in Red Mountain Peak, and went to investigate. In the end, after half a month, only one person came back. That person was covered in blood, and his eyes were dull. When I asked him where his companions were, he only laughed and said that they were dead and were killed. His whole person turned into a fool. So strange. Did he and his companions encounter something else? Wei Ziqi said. It's not just this group of people. Flamingo King said. At that time, my thoughts were the same as yours. I thought that they might have met an enemy or something. The person who came back became dull, because his companions were dead. But at that time, there was a waiter beside me who sighed, and said that it was another group of people who did not believe in ghosts. Then I asked the waiter, and he said that this was not the first group of people to go. Recently, there have been many people like this. Some came back, but they all became fools and some did not come back at all. When Sima Yue and the others heard this, they all sucked in a breath of air. Is that true? After a trip, they became fools? This is too strange. Fatty Chu said. Isn't it? Flamingo King said. Those who go, no matter how strong they are, the result is the same. So even if I know that young master is very strong, I still dare to advise you not to go. After listening to Flamingo King, everyone was silent. Yu, what do you think? Sima Yue asked. This situation is much worse than we thought. Sima Yue wasn't sure if they should go on like this, and hesitated for a moment. Sima Yue and Sima Yue, Sima Yue, Sima Yue, Sima Yue, What's the second mission? Annie followed his words and asked. Isn't it? Fatty Chu stopped halfway and looked at Annie with a smile. What are you laughing at? Annie saw him laughing, which was really annoying. Nothing. Fatty Chu stopped laughing, but he didn't say what the mission was. I'm afraid the second mission is to kill us, Shurchen said with a smile. Hee. Fatty Chu smiled embarrassedly, admitting his words. So you want to kill us? Annie punched Fatty Chu's shoulder. He didn't hurt him, but his own hand hurt. He shook it twice before he felt better. Heavens, what are you made of? Why are you so hard? It hurts. Fatty Chu is a body refiner. If you hit him, aren't you looking for pain? Sima Yue looked at him with a silly look. The situation in Bright Red Mountain Peak is not clear. If it is just a mission from the sect, you can choose to give up. Shurchen expressed his thoughts. I also think that unknown risks are the most dangerous, Fengji said. If you know the situation there, you can take precautions in advance, even if there are powerful opponents. But this kind of unclear situation, it's better not to join in the fun. Sima Yue saw the two pillars of the 10 brothers saying so, and her heart was a little shaken. She looked at Sima Yuming and asked, Big brother, what do you think? I think the Flamingo King went there a few months ago. After a few months, we don't know what the situation there is. Whether to go or not, it's better to go nearby and understand the specific situation before making a decision, Sima Yuming said. Maybe the situation is different from before. I also agree with Big Brother, Sima Yuran said. Let's get closer and see the current situation. If it's still as confusing as he said, it's fine as long as we don't go in. If the situation has changed, we can also go in and take a look. You can't not believe everything, but you can't believe everything. For this kind of thing, it was better to see it with your own eyes. This is also fine, Shurchen said. This strange phenomenon only occurs in Red Mountain Peak. As long as you don't enter Red Mountain Peak, it's safe to inquire about the news nearby. Then let's go and take a look. If we just hear that it's strange and give up without going to take a look, it's not our style. Ouying Fei said. Well, let's go to Red Mountain Peak and take a look around, Sima Yue said. I've never seen such a thing, Dai Yi said excitedly. Can you go? Fatty Chu asked. Will you be shouted to kill as soon as you appear in front of everyone? This is really possible, Sima Yue said. Don't we go? Dai Yi asked in surprise. It's better if you don't appear in front of people recently, Sima Yue said. I think the people who have received the news of your appearance are not only in Green City. You should avoid the limelight. But aren't we following you? Annie said. Sima Yue shook her head and said, You're not following me now. I want you to do some things. You can do those things after you leave here. Fengji and the others guessed what she wanted them to do and nodded. They didn't say that they wanted to go to Red Mountain Peak, like Annie and the others. We just left Green City 2 days ago. Those people will definitely be searching for your whereabouts in the vicinity. You guys wait here for a few days before you go out. We'll also discuss what we need to do to build a force. I love my academy. Actively cooperate with this special action to combat obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Thank you, everyone. Chapter 746. The following is provided for you, 746. Please enjoy. During these days in the dark forest, everyone discussed the matter of establishing their power. Now what Sima Yue wanted them to do was not to recruit people, but to let them walk around and look for a place to establish their power. Sima Yue asked Fatty Chu to refine some human skin masks for them to wear after they left. At that time, no one would know that they were the 10 great villains, which would be much more convenient. To be on the safe side, she made them swear an oath. They did not have to recognize her as their master, but they had to swear that they would not spread any information about her, nor would they have any thoughts of harming her. Fengji and the rest understood her apprehension and swore an oath, letting the laws of heaven and earth trust each other. After the discussion was more or less done, she let Shimen Feng and Fengji discuss the specific details while she went to the side to relax. Kong Ren and Hong Wu asked her to consult about alchemy and arrays. She was more interested in these than establishing her power, so she chatted with them with great interest. A few days later, Flamingo sent back news that after searching for a period of time to no avail, The people outside gave up on chasing after Feng Ji and the rest and returned one after another. Those people were guessing where Feng Ji and the rest would go after leaving Qing City, but no one thought that they would hide in the depths of the dark forest. When the wind outside loosened, Sima Yue urged them to leave. After Feng Kai and the rest interacted with Yu Yue and the rest for a period of time, they found that they had similar temperaments and were a little reluctant to part with them. Especially Hong Wu and Kong Run. They felt that there were many things that they wanted to discuss with Sima Yue. She had explained everything clearly in these few days. In order to protect their safety, she even gave them a few little rock feathers. If they encountered any danger, they could take this to the nearby bird clan for help. Feng Ji and the rest took a thick stack of human skin masks and little rock feathers and left. After they left, Sima Yue and the rest also planned to leave. Sima Yue asked for the direction of the teleportation array. Seeing that they had to go around a snowy mountain range, she thought of the Scarlet Lake in the center of the forest and the two clans in the spatial ring. She rejected Flamingo's offer to send her and went to the center of the forest. There, she called out the members of the saber-toothed tiger group. "You will live here from now on, or you can go somewhere else," Sima Yue said. When the members of the saber-toothed tiger group were in the spirit pagoda, they were locked in a dark area. They had no idea where they were. Now that they saw the blue sky and white clouds, as well as the scarlet flame lake, they felt a sense of familiarity. "We want to try living here. If we can't continue living here, then we will leave," Saber-toothed Tiger King said. "I have already informed Fiery Bird. They will help you out a little," Sima Yue said. "Also, the Snow Wolf clan will live on the snow mountain over there. You all came from the Little Realm. I don't think I need to tell you how to help each other, right?" "We understand," the saber-toothed Tiger King said. Sima Yue nodded at him, then sat on Sima Yulin's flying beast and flew towards the snow mountain. When they reached the snowy mountain, she called out the Snow Wolf clan and told them the same thing. She wanted them to live here. The Snow Wolf clan had thought that they would really follow her and live in that dark place for 100 years. He didn't expect her to release them so soon. "Then the agreement between us. If there is a need, I will come and find you," Sima Yue said. "If there is no need, then you will be free after 100 years. The saber-toothed tiger clan and the Snow Wolf clan were brought out by her from the Little Realm. She had previously agreed that they would be at her disposal for 100 years, thinking that they would encounter some situations here. In the end, the situation here was much more difficult than she had expected. They had never been of use, but Little Rock had evolved into the Golden-Winged Rock, allowing her to obtain the help of the entire bird clan. Since she couldn't use them, then she would return their freedom earlier. After settling the Snow Wolf clan, they climbed over the mountain and spent half a month to get out of the dark forest. They went to the city outside and found a teleportation array. After passing through 2 cities, they went to the Charred Mountain Ridge next to the Bright Red Mountain Ridge. The Charred Mountain Ridge was vast, but the population was not large. Because the climate here was not suitable for ordinary people to live, there was a city with spirit masters at a long distance. Usually, the cities here were not lively, but in the past year, it had become more lively. Many outsiders would come to these cities to settle down, wanting to enter the Bright Red Mountain Ridge. Mushui City was one of these cities. No, to be exact, Mushui City was more lively than other cities, because it was at the edge of the Bright Red Mountain Ridge, only separated from the Bright Red Mountain Ridge by a river. Sima Yue and the others sat in a tea house by the river. Although there were many of them, they did not choose to sit in a private room. Instead, they sat at 2 separate tables in the main hall. They sat far away from each other, and ordinary people would not be able to tell that they were together. Have you heard? A few days ago, another group of people did not believe in heresy and went to the Bright Red Mountain Ridge. The person at the table next to them said, "How do you know?" "I saw it with my own eyes. They went through here." The person pointed at the river outside and said, "Those people are really daring. They actually dared to go there. What a pity." Someone shook his head and sighed, as if he was sure that those people would not come back. The person who sighed was a man at the table next to them. Sima Yue saw that his face was full of regret and asked, "This young master seems to be very sure that they will not come back." That person did not think that Sima Yue would reply to him, and was stunned. He sighed again and said, "It's not that I'm certain, but that in the past 3 months, not a single person has come back out. Why would those people send themselves to their deaths? Not a single one came back. Didn't you say that there would be people coming back occasionally?" Wei Ziqi asked. "That was in the past. Recently, no one has come back." That person said. "How do you know?" Wei Ziqi asked. "Because I've been here every day. How many people went and how many came back, I've recorded it all here. Could it be that they went in from here and came out from another city?" Fatty Chu guessed. "Impossible. If someone came out from another place, the news would have spread across the entire continent." That man denied. "Are you here every day?" Sima Yue asked curiously. "Yes. Because I need to record data. I've been here recently." "Record data? You?" Wei Ziqi was about to ask about his identity when a man dressed in military attire ran in from outside and said, "City Lord, there's an urgent report from the city." "Urgent report? Where is it from?" Mushui City's city lord stood up. "It's from here." The guard said, "We've just received news that strange phenomena have appeared in 2 towns outside of our city. It's similar to the situation in Bright Red Mountain Peak. I love my academy. Actively cooperate with the special campaign to combat obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Thank you everyone. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.